my part. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part.
Hello! I finally set up my stream deck so I can swap scenes much easier again. Rather than specifically clicking on things and then having to unmute it. Oh, it's much nicer now. Hi, hello, comrade. Good to see you all. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, whatever you're getting up to. Let me have a nice and early sip from my tea. How's it going? It's all right, actually. I think I'm doing okay. You know what? I'll answer fully while we're just having a nice calm morning, shall I? I went for a run yesterday, so I'm very proud of myself for that.
I'm doing my
I am
part.
not a runner. I'm very new to the sport. But I notice that I must have like a weak left hip. So if anyone
I'm
has
doing my
any
part.
advice on how the heck I can strengthen that, it's not just my left side, but it's definitely my left side more so than my right side. And don't get old, damn it. No, but I think that it would be the same even if I was even younger, right? It's the fact. So the advice shouldn't be don't get old. It's start exercising both cardio and strength young, so that it doesn't mess you up later. No. I don't think it's wait, arthritis. Is that a name or is that arthritis? Run slower. I can't. I'm too fast. Hi, Wingy. It looks like I might have a little issue on my end, so I'm just gonna fix that. But I'm very proud of myself. I have been. It has been a thing that I got into. For those who haven't heard the story, I got into it because my. I'll be very transparent.
I'm doing my part.
Everyone gets a lot of different motivations for starting something new. It doesn't have to be exercise, just a hobby, whatever it might be. Maybe the girl you like, I don't know, plays chess, and so you start playing chess. Whatever it might be, we all have our own motivations. And for me, I got into running because I got really, really sick and tired of hearing my dad complain. Sorry, Dad, if you're listening. I hope you know that with having the brick wall behind me, that implies that this is embellished for comedy. I swear. Anyhow, why is this so high now? Oh, because I zoomed my camera out. I will worry about that later. I had this hidden when I had my camera slightly closer, and now it's all ugly, but I will worry about that later. Anyhow, so I was in New Zealand with my family for almost 2 months. No, I think I did hit 2 months. And when I first got there in December, my dad's like, "Oh, I used to go running all the time, and I haven't done running in ages.
I'm doing my part.
Etc. etc." And I was like, "Well, why don't you just go running then? If you're sad, just stop being sad." And so I started going with him, and then it was kind of one of those things where I had to hold him accountable, which means that I had to hold me accountable. And now, several weeks later, I've just been going for a run every single week. Only the one. So I think that would be something I'd have to, if I really want to get better at running, I'd have to pump up those numbers. But I think that's what makes it kind of nice. It's just once a week I do this exercise. But like I said, I always feel my left hip muscle, whatever that is. I guess it's my glutes or around there. That doth protest afterwards. At least it's not my knee anymore. The first few weeks I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna need a knee replacement. And so I must have done some strengthening around my knee just incidentally. But the hip, whoo-wee, that's the one. Anyhow, you lived in New Zealand for how long and couldn't strengthen up your legs? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Thank you, come.
Forgot this was coming up. It looks like I'll be here another 6 months.
Hell
Clean
yeah.
smiles, clean loves, clean fruit.
So on, so forth. Thank you so much, Calm. That is very, very kind. Thank you for the 40 months. Thank you for the ongoing support. And thank you for being just an amazing person. Very much appreciated indeed. Anyhow, so in terms of not having strength in New Zealand, I have been humbled.
I'm doing my
I
part.
suppose, let me see if I can wiggle my way out with an excuse. I did move to Australia for 10 years, so maybe I was jacked and swole as hell when I was in New Zealand, and I lost that over the course of
Good
10
morning,
years.
I'm not awake enough to write anything interesting here.
You're quite alright, Ian. Thank you so much for the 21 months, and again, thank you for this ongoing support. And thank you for triggering a hype train. It's a hype train, so get on board, get out of your seat. No, I don't want to get out of my seat. We do have a song for this that one of our community members,
It's a hype
made.
train, so get on board, get out of your seat and dance on the floor. It's a hype train, so get on board, get out of your seat and dance on the floor.
But that implies that I have to get out of my seat, and I don't want to get out of my seat. So we need to rewrite those lyrics. So it was musical time for just but a moment. So yeah, I think that just to finish my thought, that I must have deteriorated in my swollenness over the course of 10 years when in Australia, and now it's time for me to get that back. I don't go to the gym at all, so I don't think that is something I will do anytime soon because because I'm very slim, but I don't have any muscle, right? And so I think that I would just start with a bunch of
I'm doing my
body
part.
weight training, because that is all I would need at the level I am at. So that's something I'll have to get onto, but it ain't happening anytime soon, I'll tell you what. Hi, it's a great boxing gym. Okay. I could get into boxing? Do I look like a fighter? I guess I'm constantly combating people live on stream, so maybe it is in my blood. Oh, I want to marry your accent specifically. Well, maybe find yourself in New Zealand at some point. Although my accent's not really a Kiwi accent, so I don't know why I was tricking you like that. Running isn't good for the joints. You should consider swimming. Okay, where do I get the pool from? Remember that it is also in the UK where I am. So that is why we don't go, this is the thing, is the barriers to entry. Even if it is a low hurdle, it is still a hurdle. The beautiful thing about running, and I understand why people do it, and this is not me preaching running, like I said, I'm only 4 months into it. The beautiful thing about it, though, no equipment other than maybe some shoes. And I tell you what, even then people don't really wear shoes sometimes. So that is why that is so good. However, I guess, Schmick, as someone who lives on the coast, I could understand swimming for you when it's always warm and you have the ocean to just jump into. I could have wrestled crocodiles. See, I was in the south where they don't get crocodiles. But you're right, I could have gone and boxed the kangaroos, and then I would have been ready for the Southampton boxing ring as well. Her legs are probably crazy yoked. Yeah, they're pretty jacked, but not my hips. That's the problem, right? I've got these massive tree trunks, but I got no ass. Okay, so Luna said, did you just decide already about the topic of streaming cross-platform? Not yet. That's going to be next week. Today's title about Practical Magic is simply because we watched Practical Magic yesterday, and I don't know if we'll talk about that. We might. But in terms of like Topical Tuesday or whatever it's going to be, that's after today job for me to look into. Today is a Sunday where we just get to relax and have fun and, oh my god, play some video games? What? Yeah, we're gonna play some games today. I don't know when. I don't know when, but we will. It's like, I think I've made it that the week I have made my calendar, right? Hi, I've made my calendar so that I also get a weekend, even if I'm live streaming. So, like I've said many, many times, I really, really enjoy live streaming. And so it is just like I'm not really working. And I don't see it as work. I see it as energy expenditure, I suppose, and focus. And sometimes I don't want to do that. And I've decided that the
I'm doing
weekend
my
is that
part.
time. So on Saturday we do our live streaming of a movie. So if you guys want to join in the movie nights, make sure you're in the Discord. And then on Sunday it's like we'll like chat, maybe play some games. We'll do the thing. Okay. One side is usually overcompensation. This is for the hip. Start with looking at the wear on the soles of your shoes for differences. Okay, I will have a look. But I do think that it might be my body as well. I always apparently was a little bit skew with my body. Hello, hi. Still the best 3D Mario ever. Which one was that one? Horse? Oh, as in Mario Sunshine? I'm assuming you mean Mario Sunshine. I still want to play it, though. So England doesn't have pools. Well, this is what I was saying, is that the hurdle would be finding the gym or whatever has a pool, and then also the cost incurred when going to the pool. Safe as a house, says Dante. A national treasure and local legend trains there. Had Ricky the Hitman Hatton training with him and everything. Okay. So I'm going to become a boxer, I'm hearing. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, Nacho. Sorry, missus. Typical New Zealandy. Blame Australia for your lack of gains. I'm so glad I saw that. Sorry, I didn't see it earlier, Nacho, because that's very, very, like you say, very typical. It's like it's a hype train, so get on board. Clem is a smelly potato. We need an extra, Clementine is a potato. Yeah, I feel like there's something there. Maybe in one extra syllable somewhere. Hi, nice smile, thank you. Hi, hello, hi. I will now dismiss myself. Okay, Winky, all the best with your washing. Pending where you are in the UK, I assume that they had amazing hiking areas. Well, look, Drake. The person to ask is anyone from Scotland, and also Ian in our community. Ian has done a lot of hiking trails in their time in the UK. They're born and bred. Yeah, how do I feel? Yes, there are trails. Can I leave my house and then start walking an amazing trail? No.
I'm doing my part.
Do I have a car? Also no. Where do I, and then where I am in particular. So let me give you a little anecdote. I'm putting my tea down for this. I went on a road trip a few weeks ago. It was amazing. The countrysides were just absolutely gorgeous. I went to Croatia, Slovenia, Austria, and technically Italy as well. And that whole region are just stunning because of the lakes, the mountains, and then coming down to the Adriatic Sea. It was gorgeous. And the flight out, I had a window seat. And so I'm going over what were like the Alps as well. So that border of Italy and Switzerland, and so stunning. Just absolute majesty. And then I start getting closer and closer to the UK. We cross over the channel and we're coming down into London. And I'm looking out the window and I'm like, it's so flat. It's so flat and it's so boring. And it's just so not where I came from. So it's not because England is urbanized. It is that it is very easy to urbanize when there's a lot of flat land. So if you go further north, and especially if you go to Scotland, there's incredible landscape. I would love to go back to Scotland. There's also Wales, Snowdonia. It was gorgeous. I managed to go there. I suppose where I am, I can't tell you because I haven't explored this area enough yet, but I think, is it Cornwall? People might be able to correct me there. And down the like split that goes towards Plymouth, I think that area is supposed to be really nice. And there are a lot of forest walks, but there's not anything that I am aware of in a close vicinity, and especially as someone who doesn't have a car, a walking facility to do an actual hike that will strengthen my glutes. UK's ugly. It has its moments. But yeah, I everyone has their opinion. My opinion is that UK is kind of ugly. And that's the thing. People are like, why did you go to the UK? I didn't move to the UK because I thought it was the most beautiful country. I come from New Zealand. Like, it's no competition, you know? Actually, I lie. There is a lot of competition out there. But UK is not in the running. Like, they're not even qualifying, you know? Like I said, they have its moments. There's some cool areas. But as a whole, come on. No. And so I did not move to UK because I thought it was a pretty country. I think it's cool and it's got some trendy hipness to it every now and again. But there's a reason why I have 3 European trips planned and 1 that I've just come back from. That's why I moved to the UK. Anyhow, I thought you were Australian. I'm not surprised. I'm actually a New Zealander, but nonetheless. There's a speed run from beautiful to fake stream. Yeah, I don't know why people do that. It's very interesting. What's your skincare? I wash it with water, admittedly. I actually have been breaking out a little bit, so I need to find something good to help out. But nonetheless. Okay. Hi, Joe. How you going? Pomelo. Now I want to hike. Hell yeah. You can go hike out to your bed if you would like. If you aren't willing to pay for community pool, you won't like the fees of a boxing gym. We all know I wasn't gonna go to the boxing gym. I was entertaining it because I'm a yes and improviser, okay? You really think that I give boxing gym vibes? And if you do, thank you. That's actually really sweet. I really appreciate that. Thanks, guys. I'm not going to the boxing gym. We all know this. We all know. Anyhow, getting to the trail is half the battle. Exactly. And that's what makes it tough. Hi, Fugo. You aren't living there for the mountains, you're living there for the magnificent beaches. Yes, I moved here not for the mountains, but the wonderful coast. Oh boy, the British Isles. You know, they are isles. There is ocean. That means there is beach. Oh boy, yippee, yahoo. Anyhow, I think I have an idea, on the AI-ness of the vertical stream. It's the soft focus on the background. Yes, I completely agree. I've actually, this is why you can see my mic arm today, because I'm now on 28 millimeters on my lens rather than 35, and I thought that being slightly further out might help with my fake AI vertical stream as well, because that was another thing that people said, is if I was a little bit if it's a little bit too boxed in, it's just too much of my face. And like you say, with the soft background, I do understand that as being like an immediate, if you're scrolling, and this is the problem, right? This is vertical streams. And if you guys are in the vertical stream, this is actually for you. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But if you're quickly scrolling through things and then you just see this with the brick, you're like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And then you go, and then you don't get your immediate validation of being responded to. And so it must be fake. If you have said hi, and that's the only thing that you've said, and the streamer or the AI bot doesn't respond immediately, that shows it's a fake stream. If anything, I think it should show that it is not AI, because I feel like AI would be so much faster, right? AI would just be like boom, 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 boom. And so again, we're trying to put logic on the I don't know what I was about to say, but on the illogical. I think I was going to say illiterate, but that's a whole nother point as well. Um, so the immediate, like you say, bokeh effect, I do think can give a little bit of the AI effect. I just like to think that I don't know. I don't know what I like to think. It's whatever. Okay, South Manchester is pretty good. I do agree. You can get to semi-rural areas quite quickly without a car, and also Wales, like northern Wales. On top of that, you need to live further out of the cities to properly hike from the door. Exactly right. Hi, waste your time. I thought you were kidnapped. Well, no, it's not. It's not a Ramson video, but you know, if you want to donate to help out, then every bit helps, okay? Anyhow, yeah, I've heard Cornwall's nice. Devon, that's the other one. I'll have to check out Devon. Thing to remember about the UK is Ramblers' rights. You're not just limited to the trails. I don't know Ramblers' rights. You have to explain to me what that is. I always think about people running into the King or Queen on a rambling weekend. I don't know what this is. My Australian accent is pretty thick these days. No, don't tell me that. I wouldn't say that it's thick. I don't know. I don't think that I have an Australian accent. I think I just don't have a Kiwi accent until I say that's ridiculous. You're 6'5" tall and you have a long reach and no longer a body bulk. You would be the perfect for lightweight boxing. Thank you. I seem to remember from when I lived down there that all the South Coast beaches are just pebbles. They're absolutely just pebble beaches. That's why Schmick was making fun of the peaches, the pebble beaches, or rather the beaches in general. Especially where Schmick is from, where it's just the most gorgeous area. So more light, smaller aperture. No, it won't. I guess I could make it so that the bricks have more focus on it. That is true, because it is, I think it's on a f.4 at the moment. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but I don't think I want to have more focus on the bricks. Maybe when we get to decorating, I would consider that, but at the moment, no. I do not think that having soft focus on the bricks is actually going to help with the AI allegations. I think the AI allegations is a several pronged issue, and part of that comes from the doom scrolling, because that's the thing, is a lot of the people who come back and hang out, that you guys didn't accuse me of AI, of being AI. That was the people who are accusing me of AI don't even stick around. They basically spend 10 seconds and then they move on, and so it doesn't help. It doesn't help, I think, to just solve one issue to limit the AI allegations when it is going to continue. You know what I mean? Okay. Clem took a whole minute or whatever. I was not counting to respond to my Tangelo, clearly AI. The prompts are just coming in very slowly. You know, I saw the brick wall and immediately thought New Zealand. That's hilarious. I actually have no idea why that would be the correlation, but nonetheless. AI needs the reset point too. I'm thinking people actually think you're technically a deep fake. Yes, I think that's what people mean. And this is why I think I almost did whatever the equivalent of a Freudian slip is when you're saying what you're kind of thinking, where it's basically people who are just not thinking very hard, and I think they think I'm like a dude who has put on a deepfake or AI mask rather than an AI prompt. I think they think that I'm someone else. So maybe I should speak with, like, if I could speak with a much lower voice. Hey guys. Yeah, it's just me. What do you mean? It's me, X Clementine. It's your boy. I mean, it's your girl. Do I sound convincing yet? What's up, Shadow Gamer? How are you? In Scotland, you can camp in anywhere. Oh, there we go. I think New Zealand's pretty similar as well. Thick. Are you an angel? Technically, but I can't talk about it. Yeah, like your cam quality. Thank you so much, Troll. Yes, I am aware that a lot of people on the live streams also are not used to having a fancy camera like mine. It has happened when I was finding live streams. I came across someone who was doing like a political. I don't even remember the name, but they were debating with. I couldn't tell if they were debating with another host or if they were debating with a viewer. But I found it really annoying because they just I think I watched for like 20 minutes and they said the same argument 5 times in a row, and it's like, if you're banging your head against a wall, you need to try something different, you know? Clearly they were not getting through to this person, so they needed to try a different tactic, because otherwise it was just anyhow. I doom scroll and goon every day. I hate my life. Well, I feel like if you embrace the doom scrolling and gooning, then maybe you won't hate your life so much. You're allowed to enjoy it. And I feel like that's part of gooning, right? You're supposed to enjoy it. So consider either changing your outlook on these things, or alternatively, you could get rid of one. You could get rid of one, Elliot. I believe in you, and then see what that does. In England and Wales, ramblers have the right to walk on designated public rights of way, as in footpaths, bridleways, and access land, mountains, moors, heaths, and downs. Under the Crow Act 2000, the Ramblers Association protects these routes, campaigns for expanded access, and saves lost paths. Local authorities must maintain these paths. Okay, then how come everything is behind a paywall? If you want to go see something, they're like, you got to pay to come see it. Especially when it comes to old structures. Just get a green screen and put the Max Headroom background behind you. Context for what Max Headroom is. Actor in the 80s pretending to be a CGI character inside a digital environment. There we go. I feel like it would work. You're not a dude? Oh, wait. Did you guys think I was a dude this whole time? Put your finger on your face. Which one? How many fingers? It's your boy. No, it's not your boy. It's your girl. Hi, Rubber Ducky. Yes, thank you. I am indeed a great bloke, Rubber Ducky. Also, I haven't had a chance to show off the overalls. Thank you so much. So for those who do not know, every now and again I have items on my wish list. I don't have anything currently because I don't know what I want. But these I actually realized I hadn't worn on stream yet. And so thank you so much, Rubber Ducky. Shout out. The I am real. They're really cute. They've got little bees on them. It's a bit dark today, but they're really cute. There we go. If the sun comes out later, the bees will be more obvious. But I really, really like them. Are you proud having North European genes? How do you know I have North European genes? Are you assuming this? Where is this assumption coming from? What constitutes North Europe as well? Where's the cutoff? Like, you know, tell me more. Tell me more. As Wikipedia guidelines describe it, drop the stick and back away from the horse carcass. What are you talking about, Citrusella? That sounds incredible. Hi, Dingers. How you going? Eat spaghetti or your AI. And then everyone's like, see, it is AI. I would much rather get lost in your eyes instead of... You're giving us the gooning. The doom gooning. You're giving us anticipation. Favorite color if you had to choose only one to look at for the rest of your existence? Probably gray. Because I feel like that way you're basically just looking at everything in a black and white filter, right? And the shades of gray, apparently there are not 50 of them, apparently there are fewer. The shades of gray will help with distinction. I feel like that's the logical conclusion, but maybe there's another one that would be better. My thoughts is they harass mass report even if someone has a mental breakdown level of hate is still hate towards the humanity toward AI, you reckon? Is that all? We might have to I'm not sure where the mass reporting has come from. So I don't. If you're talking about me being AI, we don't get reported for it. So I think I just need a little bit more specificity on that one. Sorry, Zadderall. Greetings from Istanbul. Hello. Access land includes mountains, moors, heaths, and downs that are privately owned. Whoa! Wait, I can go walk on private property? That's cool. And then we just go say hi to the monarchs? I like that. Who are you and what do you do? Hi, my name is X Clementine. You can call me Clem. I live stream like 4 times a week, I would say, but this month we're going to be live streaming a lot more. Not always on the X Clementine channel. Sometimes we'll be on the X Clem Plays channel when we get to play video games, which is very excited. And I travel, I guess. I'm from New Zealand originally, and now I'm in the UK. And I'm trying to find more excuses to do more tours, and that's me. That's me. Yeah, I'm a Clementine, exactly. Doom scrolling is addictive in nature. It is, isn't it? Extremely dangerous to media literacy as well as psychological health. Gooning is a separate issue and can be healthy. That's the thing is so I only learned what gooning is not too long ago. My impression of gooning is that it's just a kink. I think that where it becomes detrimental is if people are involving you in that kink involuntarily. That's where the problem is, right? What is your name? What is your quest? What is the velocity of a unladen swallow? I can't quite remember the quote, but hopefully that's good enough. Hi, Timber. Good to see you. Rubber ducky isopods. Is that gonna? Oh, okay. Well, I'm looking forward to looking this one up. Just wishless money sort itself out later. That's adorable. That's so cute. Somebody has to own and pay for the maintenance and upkeep of the old buildings because capitalism, there are some ruins and old structures that are free to visit. Well, first of all, they don't have to upkeep them. There are plenty of places that just let the ruins fall, but I will accept for those who are trying to not let them fall that it would be a thing. If the sun comes out and the bees will fly around the room, or I hope not. I've never been stung by a bee, so I have no idea if I'm allergic to them or not. Hi, Robert. Only thing I wish for is to see you smile. Well, you must have wished multiple times because I feel like I've smiled multiple times since you've been here. That's clearly Shift Boa DAI. Where is your smile? So... where is it? Bright. I don't know. I guess my parents paid for orthodontics and braces. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what grey-brown signifies in people. I have color theory for most others. Yellow is still in the question for men. You'll have to tell us more about that. Yeah, I don't have the ability to weigh in there. I like how you handle some of the more daft comments, genuine and hilarious at the same time. That's actually really sweet. I try to not be mean, at least. That's the thing. Hi from Montreal. Very cool. Greetings from Western Australia. You're not the only one from Western Australia. You're fitting well, Powderworks. Exclem is my favorite sit-down comedian. Thank you. I'm glad people gave me such good responses on my editing. I have been getting back into the editing game. So if you guys ever see any short-form content of me, that's me. Well, you'll be able to tell, but the editing is also me. I've been working over the last week to get into editing, and yeah, it's been all right. It's definitely like not my favorite part of the job, but we'll see how it goes. That's part of my other MAYrathon things is to try and do more editing. And every single thing that has the brick wall is from a live stream. You'll be able to tell if it's not a live stream, I think. But everything I have edited that will be rolling out over the next few weeks is from the live stream. So you too can contribute to an edit that I've made if you make me say something funny. So there's your pressure. Because certainly I can't do it. Pro rambling tip. If you know when the king is at Balmoral, the royals are known to enjoy walks in the Scottish Highlands, making chance of meeting with walkers possible. That's actually quite cute. You got a good voice. You should probably sing. Oh, there you go. Here are the video games. Thank you, Ninefox. There should be a command plays as well for anyone who wants to help out with the links to the Exclaim plays. It should work across all of the platforms. Typically, on first exposure, you won't see the allergy anyway. For bee stings, the immune system hasn't formed the antibiotics. Okay, there we go. Hi, Grinch. There are plenty of things that are positive to hating fascism. Fascism, for instance. You know what, Cassidy? That's fair enough. But yeah, I do understand where Zatterall is coming from. Is I too try not to have my leading factor as hatred or anger. I think that hatred comes more from anger in a way. And so I feel like I see a lot of bad takes usually when it comes from this frustration and nonetheless. Hi from Texas. Hello. That's where the AI is. She's just using it on her mouth and possibly legs. It's true, for my tree trunks. I fought in your general direction. We are the knights who sing. That was actually my raid song for a while on Twitch, where it was like a remix and people would raid in and it's like, we are the knights who say. People who oppose communists are fascists. It is clearly misunderstood. To be honest, that's not something I'll be able to weigh in on. The word communist gets thrown around so flippantly that I don't feel like people use it. What's the word? I feel like a lot of people use it somewhat disingenuously, I guess. Or maybe it's just I recognize my lack of knowledge in the topic, and so therefore I don't. I got nothing. If your favorite color? No, my favorite color is not gray. My favorite color is orange. But that wasn't your question. Your question was, what color would you choose if that's the only thing you could see for the rest of your life? And I felt like if I saw everything in orange every single day, that I'd probably just want to. I don't think I would enjoy that. Whereas I feel like I could live maybe with shades of blue. I feel like blue or gray. I'm just looking at this room. That is hi blue. No, orange is my favorite color, but seeing the whole world in one color I don't want to be seeing it on orange, you know. Yeah, like that greenish blue, like an aqua teal, all the shades of blue, because if we're going to choose only one color, if we have to say I'm going to see everything in periwinkle blue, it's like, well, how can I tell what's 3D? I guess light. If everything, but then are you truly seeing everything in one color? Because the way that light hits would make it slightly darker on this side, lighter on this side and darker on this side. Is it now the same color? Are those two different colors? For example, my hair color. I'm a ginger, but are you going to say that I'm blonde on this side and darker on this side? Is this one color or is this two colors? Because there are a lot of stipulations here that we have to think about if we can see the entire world in only one color. Because to me, if you see it in only one color with no shades, then it won't even be 2D. You'll just see nothing. It'll just be flat. And so I feel like you have to have shading. So like that greenish blue that you're talking about. I think that would allow for... Wait, can we do this? Let me have a look. Can we have the technology? Let's see what we can organize. I haven't done this in a while. Initializing. Good night, Cassidy. Thanks for swinging by. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I was trying to make clips the other day, but all my shit is so slow, it makes it impossible. However, I can recommend ideas. Yes, that sounds fine. You can message me about them. I've actually been doing very well. I've been making it my mission to do one clip per stream. And so basically I have some streams where I feel like several clips even you guys have made from the same stream, I just completely ignore them at the moment because I've got too much on my plate. So I just go, if I can find one clip per stream, then that way I always am wearing a different outfit. So that's also cool. And that becomes a bit of my routine. But anyway, that's just a little something, a little what I do offline, I guess. Everybody type something that triggers a super viral and hilarious response. Yeah, why are you guys here other than to help me go viral? Hi, Cody Cameron. Hi, and thank you for the follow, Firelord, by the way. Yes, the organic orange. Exactly, you're right. So in terms of my pronouns, I use she, any. So for example, in the chat, you'll see that sometimes it says daddy. I am daddy. If you needed clarification, it's me, daddy. But I am clearly femme presenting. I'm a woman. I don't know what else to tell you. So she, any. You basically just use what you feel suits me. What are we up to here? We're just chatting, Terry. About nothing in particular. About colours, about me, I guess. Communism and fascism are both words used by people who don't know what they are to describe things that aren't them. That's what I feel like. Is every time I look it up, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that that's not what they were using. Like, it was not being used in the correct context. But then I get confused because I'm like, they're using it so confidently. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyhow, socialism is only a dirty word because of a certain Austrian painter. I didn't know that that's what he was claiming what he did, but obviously we're aware that that was fascism. Good faith. Hi, Pseudo Nick. Lots of words and phrases lack good faith. Yes. Yeah, I agree with this. Reloaded. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. Only Brits could come up with the intelligent insult like this. And also it makes you just question yourself where you're like, what does this even mean? And why am I offended by it? It means your favorite color is gray, otherwise you would have said orange. It's almost like I actually listened to your question and put thought into it rather than just choosing to see my favorite color. I'm very aware that my favorite... So for example, you could be like, who's your favorite musician? And then now you have to only listen to them for the rest of your life. Sure, you might be okay with that, but you often choose to listen to multiple artists. We have free will, right? Right? Are we going to get into this debate? Anyhow, so when you are listening to music, you might have a favorite artist and you might listen to them more than any other artist. But the beautiful thing is that you can choose to listen to another artist. And so listen, if you now only listened to the one artist for the rest of your life, you're probably, you're not necessarily going to enjoy that. They are your favorite because of the comparison to everything else, because of the function that they fill in our current life. So I, on the other hand, was able to consider your question, which was, what would you want to see of everything, rather than choosing my favorite color to see. My favorite color, if I were to only see that, I don't want to see orange for the rest of my life. Goodness gracious me. Although this whole room doesn't really help my case. Okay. Communism in theory is made up by slan author. I'm not familiar with it. Sorry, Chris, who was never in politics. It's like Scientology, but as a system of government. Oh, so you're saying it's more like this would be like an ideal rather than a practice, maybe? I'm having to take your word for it because, like I said, I don't really know much about it. Hi, Crossbow. See, only one color is technically blind if there is no shade. Thank you, Crossbow. That was my thought. Hi, Monkey. Yeah, the movie was interesting. We watched it yesterday. I'm the only one who can be orange. Yes, exactly. You got it, Nacho. You got it. You can't see anything, you're blind, but with one color. Well, that's what I was... Oh, like putting cellophane over your eyes? Okay, cellophane. So then you would see the shades. So you are having lights. Okay, well, now you have different stipulation, I suppose. So you can still see all of the lights. I still think I wouldn't choose orange, though. I still don't think I would choose orange. You ever think what you see as blue is red to someone else's brain? Yes, I have thought about this. The grass is green, we accept that, but what if green looks like red to someone else? And that happens. You have people who are colorblind, but it's not just like that. They see black and white. It's usually some variation, and things might be a little bit more dull. But that's why there are a lot of arguments over things as well, where it's because we actually cannot see the color that someone else sees.
I'm doing my part.
Crazy. I do think about this. Shade of pink. Hilarious, Boba. I've had orange glasses. They make the world look good. I literally have rose-tinted glasses. It's kind of funny. Yo, hi, Fanatic. Hi, Michael. Hi, Yoda. Good to have you guys back here. A greenish blue background. I would suit you. I used to have a bunch of plants when I was in Melbourne. I do miss my plants a lot. Oh, you're right, Boba. We can chat about it off stream. Hi, Brad. Welcome on in. I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to be able to remember that your name is Brad, so I'll probably just call you Fender, but I hope you are not a Fender. Wait, that didn't work. As you can tell, I'm not in a comedy show. Currently creating my own card game called Smackers. That sounds fun. Coffee boosts attack, sandwiches boost health. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. That's fun. Have you been memed? I don't know what you mean by that. Are you memeing me right now? In order to go viral, people have to know this channel exists. Me being here is not helping. Damn it. My Ginger Queen, can you show proof the wall is real? No. I mean, technically, no. I don't know what you want from me to prove it, but me smacking it doesn't technically prove it. I could still fake that. And they became political to impress girls, and then when that failed, I became conservative. That's hilarious. I love it. Top of the morning. Wait, no, but not to the Irish. Socialism and Austrian painter. The National Socialist German Workers' Party, commonly known as. Oh my God! Is that where it came from? I've never thought about that. Anyway, a far-right political party. Far right. It's off the scale there. Damn. Okay. Some artists are so prolific, though, and put, 300 albums. Exactly. There'll be plenty of artists out there whose music also would shift as through the decades. So it probably would be okay. So is it gray or orange? Well, I can tell you it's not orange. Okay, let me pose the question a little bit differently, Yaya. I would not want to see my favorite. The world is not necessary to have an entire shade of orange. What is the color you would choose, Yaya? So you're out here trying to get me to defend my choice for a question that is inconsequential. I gave you my reasoning, and that was because I felt like it would just be a black and white. And speaking of, it would be just black and white. And so therefore, it would be functional rather than it just being orange. So now you are asking me to continue to defend this point despite the fact I gave you my reasoning. So what is the color that you would choose rather than me needing to constantly be the in the spotlight, I suppose. That was pretty cool, hey? How was that for timing? How was that for segue? I'm not AI patriot. Practical Magic repost. The cop didn't deserve Sandy B. Agreed. There's Practical Magic 2. I know, right? I think they recast the daughters. I'm pretty sure both of them still act. Yes, but but there's teenagers. We looked at the trailer, and it didn't spoil anything, thankfully. We looked at the trailer after the movie, and it looks like the girls are still teenagers. So it makes sense why they would recast the girls, because Evan Rachel Wood, for example, I don't think she can play a teenager. As brilliant as an actress she is, I don't think she can pass as a teenager. I'm just saying elephants must be really good at hiding. Okay, let me put it this way, Yaya. If you're telling me that I can only see one color and there's no shading or shadowing, then you cannot see anything. I've already said this. Even before you gave me that wording, I was the one who said that. And therefore, it is the equivalent of being blind. And so if you're now moving the goalpost to say you will not see shading or shadowing, seeing one color would be the equivalent of being blind, and based on the colorful world that I know, rather than me being born into existence with this one color theory, I would choose black. Because that's what we're used to. If we close our eyes, and that is the equivalent of only seeing one color. Maybe some lights will be making you see your veins or some funky colors, but the equivalent would be black. And so without knowing any different, I would choose to see black for the rest of my life. I would choose the absence of light, because color is only the reflection of light and refraction of light after all. And so therefore, no light, as in blind people, no color, I would choose black, which is technically not a color. Anyhow, I'm just saying elephants must be really good at hiding in trees, especially when no one has seen an elephant in a tree. Duke, I think you're onto something. You're too charming for YouTube Live. Thank you, Rusty. But I think you've outed yourself as a monster if you're saying it's full of it. Maybe we just need more people fending off the monsters. Ah! Kanye West reference. We all know who your favorite painter is now. Fuck. I do enjoy watching your thoughts run wild. Thank you, Yoda. That's basically all I do. Hi, Joe. Yeah, blind person. I don't see the color. I'm subbing. Thank you. That's really kind. What kind of forgive are you? I don't know what that means. Sorry, Hermosa. Let's make some theories. Yeah, you can make all the theories about the brick wall. I feel like it needs some storylines. Okay, catching up. Kermit apparently got a shiny. That's so exciting. I didn't know that they played Pokemon Go. I broke my kneecap. Frick. Yeah. I'm sorry. That would be very, very sore. No, I'm not in Melbourne anymore. I'm not in Warsaw. What the heck? I'm in the UK is where I am. How many on Twitch tonight? No. I don't look at my numbers. It freaks me out. Remove a brick. There you go. Did I do the thing? Was I able to successfully follow the instructions of the community? Did I do it? Did I do okay? I don't really know what happened to this hole in the wall. Okay. I wonder if that definition that Boba posted struck close to home for anyone in this chat. Gotta be made though. Nicholas don't. I'm not sure what that is. Sorry, Zithlin. I didn't ask the question, so you could change the question. It's a hypothetical. I don't know why you're getting so upset about it. You asked a hypothetical. I've given you 3 different answers based on the goalposts that you have moved for me. Like, I'm trying, let me put it this way, Yaya. I could have ignored your question. It's not on topic. I entertained it because I thought about entertaining it. If you're telling me that I can only, if you're asking me my favorite color, it's orange. If that's the color that I want to see for the rest of my life, no, I don't want to see orange for the rest of my life. I like orange compared to the other colors. That's not the only color I want to see. So I've answered that. I've answered the question about gray or blue on if there is lighting or shading. You've now told me that there is not lighting or shading. And so therefore I would choose to be blind or see black if I really have to because of the absence of color. I don't know what more you want. I have tried to fit in your rules that are constantly changing rather than me suiting it to change my mind. And is that not the point of a hypothetical question in the first place? A hypothetical question to see the way that someone else's thinking works around this question. Like, that is the whole point of asking those types of questions rather than being like, oh, where are you from? Is it not? And so therefore, what is not satisfactory about my answer? You tell me, what is not satisfactory about my answer? What is your answer? And why Why do I have to choose? Like, if you're telling me that I have to choose my favorite color, that's orange. Well, then your question shouldn't be, what's your favorite color that you would then see for the rest of your life? Because my favorite color is orange, and now you are putting on me that I would be seeing this color for the rest of my life. Like, then you've got your own answer. My favorite color is orange, and now that is what I am forced to see for the rest of my life. That is your stipulation. Like, it's not that hard. You're answering about color shading and speaking on that when I never asked it. You move the goal. I move the goalpost. Okay. Don't answer. I don't care. And don't clap like you're not mid-range AQ. Yeah. Like, genuinely, I don't understand why you're getting so upset about this. I've been trying to understand your question. You have told me, like, let's just breathe. Okay, we're gonna. There's no point in getting nasty. I have not gone out of my way to now attack you to say you're mid IQ. Like, this is this is not helping, right? It doesn't, like, if you're going to pose a question, why get nasty about it? Right? You don't need to get nasty about it. And why but genuinely, just take a breath. Yeah. Like, this is my point. Like, we'll put this back on as well so that we can show that we are answering in good faith. Let's take a breath. Everyone take a breath. Hello, Willie. Take a breath. I genuinely am not trying to do anything as like anything facetious. I'm not trying to do anything to be cruel or turn it around on you. Okay, yeah. Breathe. Don't type. Just hands off the keyboard for a moment, okay? First of all, you said you're okay, no. Hands off the keyboard for a moment. Hands off the keyboard, all right? Hands off the keyboard. I'm trusting. I'm trusting that your hands are off the keyboard, okay? Look, we're pausing. Hands are off the keyboard. All I want you to do is just listen for a moment, okay? You posed a question. Clearly, I misunderstood your question based on the things that you've told me, okay? Dude, pause. You posed a question. You have explained to me that I misunderstood your question, okay? We got to the understanding of your question. There is no need to have, and then to say that you're not mad in the same breath where you've said, yes, I am mad and I am sad. It's okay. Arguments happen, debates happen. It makes sense to get heated up on a misunderstanding. A lot of people get very, very emotional when there is confusion. It causes frustration. There is a struggle of ability when you are texting versus me talking. I understand that. There is a struggle of me juggling several different conversations and not being able and not focusing solely on your hypothetical. You yourself recognize that there is no need to be mad, right? And so just take that breath. You take that breath. So, now, coming back, if we bring it all the way back to the original question, favorite color if you had to choose only one to look at for the rest of your existence? My answer is blue. After all of that conversation, my answer is blue. Do you not now want me to expand on that? Is that where the conversation is meant to end? And so this is now me throwing it back at you. If I just answer that question, does that not take, yes, greenish blue specifically, thank you, Terry. Does that not take away the intention of asking a hypothetical? Because my impression is that the intention of asking these types of questions is to be an icebreaker, a conversation starter? Did it not start a conversation? Did it not now make us think about the shading of colors? How does this work in the stipulation of your questioning? Okay, so it doesn't work. Well, now let's find the answer in this regard. It has now extended, not just with me, but to other community members for what, 30 minutes? Have you not achieved what that hypothetical is meant to do? I don't, there's nothing where I was getting absolutely mad. For me, it was more about this idea of like getting excited, passionate, but what I will not tolerate is you calling me names because of you feeling like you have not achieved what you wanted to achieve. And you're right. You've got your attention now. I would like to hear from you. Hopefully you've had that breath. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. There's no need to be mad about this, about a color. Like, it's passion. I'm engaged in your questioning. I do believe that this goalpost was moved. However, if you think I moved it versus you moved it, that's recognizing the way that other people communicate and the differences between them. And now, instead of continuing to get mad, we've come all the way back to get to the crux of it, rather than this build. Right? That is all. And if people are, and now, yeah, put me in the box exactly. And now, for people who are saying, please move on, I shan't. This is who I am. If I feel like someone has gotten upset, I will do what I can to help that scenario, okay? That is who I am. That is what I am going to do. If you are finding it boring, if you're finding it uninteresting, you don't have to watch. I don't have to cater to you. I don't have to move on just because you've told me to. You think you ran away after I got serious? Oh, God. So that's the thing. Is like, I genuinely feel like, and this is the thing, as you guys were saying that he got what he wanted, attention, but that is what is ridiculous and bizarre to me, is when people actually get the spotlight on them, when they actually get the attention, that they struggle with it. They really, really do. And so I find it is something that I don't fully understand, I suppose. And for example, they never once answered what their favorite color would be. Their whole reasoning was, how would you not want to see your favorite color, despite the fact that I gave my reasoning? So that shows a lack of listening, right? It was just a question about your dominant color. So like I said, I had answered their question in 4 different ways, and none of that was acceptable, despite showing so much faith in, like I said, an inconsequential question. It's just interesting. It's interesting. I really do find it fascinating. See, oh, there we go. No, I take it back. They did answer. They said, I would choose black or to be blind, which I also said. And so then they're trying to call out my logic and reasoning with the same logic and reasoning. They had the exact, so like they chose black or to be blind, the same conclusion that I came to based on everything that they gave me. Are we really, like, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people like the color black. I like the color black. I'm literally wearing black with accents right now. I love the color black for a majority of my stuff. It's technically not a color though. And again, this is what I was saying in my conversation, is that this is what these icebreaker questions are meant to do. Otherwise, it just doesn't continue the conversation. It's like, if you could have dinner with any celebrity, we're not doing the alive or dead scenario. Actually, no, that's part of it. If I said, hey, and this is actually genuinely now something that I will pose to you guys. If you guys could have dinner with a celebrity, who would it be? You're welcome to actually answer that question if you'd like. Yes, exactly, Terry. I agree. The only time I get very colorful is on stream with my dungarees, basically. Hi, Fadine. So you guys answer the question about celebrities. I'll see if there's anything I want to see. Have a nice Saturday. Thank you. There's a difference between born blind or getting blind. Exactly. Don't know the colors. So it's just the lack of light. Again, another thing that I was saying. So it just goes to show that they were not listening, right? And like Nine Fox said, they probably ran away as soon as I actually gave them the opportunity to say stuff. And I didn't know there was a topic. Yeah, apparently. I didn't know there was a topic either. It was about colors. My answer is no, thank you. That's adorable. Do they have to be alive? Thank you, Terry. This is exactly the line of questioning that I'm trying to get across, is that now it becomes a conversation. So, for example, for Pseudo Nick, I would say Dua Lipa. Oh, so what do you think seems cool about Dua Lipa? Oh, I'm not as familiar. And then I can say, I'm not as familiar with Dua Lipa. They're a singer, right? Do you know any of their songs? Like, are you a musician yourself? This is the intention behind these icebreaker questions, is to continue conversation, not just Dua Lipa. So who's the celebrity that you want to have dinner with? Dua Lipa? Okay. You got me with that one. What if you can only talk to Dua Lipa for the rest of your waking life? Let's go all the way. Are you and see, this is the thing. Are you now gonna still choose Dua Lipa? Whereas what this person was posing is, you chose Dua Lipa, haha, now you have to only see Dua Lipa for the rest of your life. Trapped. Gotcha. You're now stuck with Dua Lipa. You're not allowed to change your mind. Why wouldn't you want? And then they get into the same cycle. Why wouldn't you choose Dua Lipa if now she's the only person? Maybe she's your favorite singer. Maybe she is the person. It's like, well, now she's the only person that you can hang out with forever. And with that, would you still choose Dua Lipa? Because if you change your mind, you're not allowed to change your mind. Now that we've made new stipulations, you're not allowed to change your mind. Or rather, clarifications. But Terry, in answer to your question as, does the celebrity have to be alive? That is another line of, that response is an example of an icebreaker question working correctly. Because it's supposed to create this conversation rather than what do they call it? Closed question. It doesn't have to be a closed question. Yes, yeah, it doesn't have to just end there. You don't have to just have your answer. So, for example, maybe you guys know your favorite movie. I took a long time to lock in a favorite movie. And Pokemon. I love Pokemon. You can see that's the only decoration I have. Pokemon alerts come up on my stream. I love Pokemon. But whenever someone asks me my favorite Pokemon, I find it incredibly difficult to figure out. And so that's why I'm like, well, this is my favorite Pokemon of the now. But I like this and I like this. And then we can go on from there. And now a 2-second answer can become a 20-minute conversation. Because ultimately, conversation and chatter doesn't really matter. There's no point to it other than getting the socialization to an extent, a bit of extroversion, regeneration. Like, humans are social creatures. We just yap for the sake of yapping. And I don't mean live streamers. I really do mean humans. I mean people when you are catching up for a drink, when you are going for a walk with someone, you often will fill that space with, does it really matter? Does it really matter? It's it's just interesting that this person cannot understand their own line of questioning, I suppose, or what they're trying to achieve. I think that is that to me showed that they didn't understand what they were trying to achieve with their question. If they wanted to know my favorite color, I answered that. If they wanted to create more of a conversation, then we did that. Do you have a different channel? On Twitch, this is the only Twitch channel that I have, Rahat. But on YouTube, that might be what you're seeing. I am multi-streaming on YouTube as well, and then I have two YouTube channels. Humans are or were social creatures. Hot take, Bobby. These days we are organic support systems for silicon-based technology, and one day we won't even need to be that. My favorite color is pink. Is it pink? Child, I don't. That's the thing. Is a lot of people discount a lot of these things as children, and you're right that there's a higher rate of young people coming into the chat since multi-streaming. But I don't think that we should so quickly and easily discount emotional, irrational, and childish behavior as a child. Because I can tell you that my time on the internet, the worst offenders are adults. Because that is the majority of people that are on the internet that reach my channel. It is adults who do not understand their own emotional, not intelligence, regulation, what's the word I'm looking for? People who don't understand their own emotions, I'll say it like that. And then they will get incredibly fired up over something so trivial. There is no reason for someone to have gotten mad over choosing a fucking color. Like, and so that's the thing, is I recognize that for me, I get passionate about things, and if I can feel that it is now getting to like not fun, where I'm like, oh, like this is just, you know, I might get excitable and talk in this kind of like, this is how it's going. But if that is actually now turning into this, oh, this is like people, like this is getting emotional. And it was, they literally called me mid IQ or whatever. At least they didn't call me low IQ, you know, I'll give them that. But that is now them becoming nasty. And then they couldn't handle the fact that they were being nasty. By calling me names. And so that shows someone who is struggling with their emotion. And so that's why I wanted to calm it down, bring it down, breathe, not just for them, but for me as well, you know? Just slow it down, remind ourselves of what the situation is. But this person rage quit. And you can see this in video games a lot, right? That's where that term came from, rage quitting. They literally just leave. That is conflict avoidant. And it is an incredibly detrimental trait to have. A lot of us are conflict avoidant. I actually hold my own belief that many people, like the majority of people are conflict avoidant. So for example, when they see something happening, they're likely to not step in because they are conflict avoidant. And what this results is that it means that people will continue to just get emotional over certain things because they do not understand how to handle that frustration that occurs. They don't understand how to overcome that. And so then it'll just be repetition. It'll be repeated over and over again. I didn't mean to repeat myself just then. Where they are not able to go, okay, this is getting silly and heated when it shouldn't be getting heated. And instead of sticking it out, they chose to leave. Yeah, I mean that they are little bitch, exactly. They're little bitchy ass boy. And so my point is, if you guys feel yourself getting fired up or heated, try and recognize that. Take a breath, you know, the count to 10 situation that funnily enough, sometimes it just works. Sometimes it just works. And then remind yourself, where is this coming from? Why is this feeling like this? Let's get back on point. And then that can help one manage those emotions in future scenarios, understanding the triggers, recognizing where that's coming from, and overcoming that. Anywho. Did you fart today? I probably did. Yeah, I would have woken up. I don't really think about it. I haven't farted on stream yet, if that helps answer your question. Oh, but sorry, I shouldn't change the question to suit my mind. Fart out the bed? Yeah, it's like surely, like you're sleeping, unless one farts at night, I suppose. You go to the bathroom, maybe do a little toot there. Anyway. All right, I'm gonna scroll through some of these messages. Okay, yeah, go cuddle the cat, Neplis. The most hilarious thing about this is Clementine unintentionally trolled an absolute hell out of this man. Oopsies. I just wanted to know what their thought process was. Oh my god, Popo, I just saw your message. I'm not reading that one out loud. Just by virtue of saying chill out when he started slanging insults. Thank you, horse. I do appreciate it. Okay. Turquoise? Well, in terms of the green blue, I don't know if it's like turquoise, teal, aquamarine maybe. Teal, yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah, he's never going to understand the concept of a hypothetical. Yeah, I hope people made their cover. There was plenty of time to do it. Golpo said there to be move. I mean, you were playing fair, but sometimes the question isn't what they like, and that's their problem, not yours. And so that's what Boba was saying. Is it my shit or your shit? And so I entertained their question, and I guess not in the right way. I didn't play with their toy correctly. But this is my point, is like, it's meant to continue the conversation. Moving the goalpost doesn't help if you still can't kick a ball. Oh, that's so good. If you were a fish, what would be your favorite color? Adirak, you're so cheeky. What the heck? Yeah, this is the goon talk people were talking about. Hey, Latrix. Okay, if you were a fish, would you only see that color? You guys are hilarious. Holy crap. And this, if you're ever wondering why I go back and read messages, this is why. You guys are fucking funny. If you need an affirmation, you guys are really funny. And if you're ever like, oh, Clementine doesn't read my message, and like, oh, she takes forever. I'm sorry that you're funny, okay? Like, I'm sorry that what you contributed to the conversation or the ranting is funny. And that I want to see and I want to giggle about it. I'm really, really sorry. What area in Melbourne were you in? Yoda, if you're still around, I lived near Ringwood. I lived in the city centre for a little bit, and then I moved all the way out east towards Ringwood. We actually did agree with each other as well, Horse, exactly. You're not here to cater to us? Oops. That explains the lack of food and drinks. He got so butthurt, exactly. I have my butthurt vision. Is that your superpower? See a red door and I want it painted black. That is exactly it. They wanted me to play how they wanted me to play. Okay. Point, counter, point, loop. Well, and this is what I mean, is like it doesn't help. We gotta cut into that. Okay. Glenn thinks we're funny, plus puts down the rope shit. I do like a dark joke, and thank you, Adele. I sent I know that Boba's into the dark jokes as well. There was one that came up on my feed that I sent to them. Do Australians see colours upside down? Yes, obviously. I don't. Why are you asking that question? Also, hi Brett. Sorry, I was in rant mode. Practical Magic was a movie that we watched yesterday. Maybe that's what we can segue to. Okay. I think that I am pretty happy with this. Yeah, Dua Lipa does seem cool. She was in Barbie, I know that. You have good jeans? Well, I'm not wearing jeans at the moment. No, thank you. I don't know. I'm very aware that I've got some good-looking rents. I'll tell you what. I mean, especially when they were my age, I was like, damn. Last dream I remember. I think 6. You've said this before. Oh, actually, I do remember my dream from last night. Literally last night. I have lost my ring. Basically, I went to move my stuff so that I could not lose it, and I dropped the ring, and it's somewhere under my bed, and it's been almost a whole week because I haven't been able to find it, and then I couldn't be bothered moving everything, and it's so annoying. And then I had to double take before I started stream because I was like, did I find my ring? Like, do I have my ring now? Because I remember finding it at the bottom of the bed and picking it up off the floor. It was just a dream, and I was really, really sad because now I still don't have my ring. I'll see, Mama. I just saw about the expectation to cook with a celebrity. Only Dua Lipa, that's the one. Okay. Dua Lipa is actually a great book reviewer. Really? That's so cool. No, I don't know much about Dua Lipa. The only things I know about Dua Lipa is that she made it into Barbie and that she's gotten better at dancing. I've seen and her like dance move because I saw like a progression of time where her first performances she was kind of like and now she's like yeah. So good for her. I would like Dua Lipa for the rest of my life. I think this is also a fair enough one to have. How much for the brick wall? However much it costs for you to get to Southampton, Joe boy. Then you can just take it. I want to meet some celebrities before they get weird. Oh, this is an interesting one. How do you know that they weren't always weird? Is it before scandal? If they become weird or get into a scandal, whatever it is, do they now, like, what do you want to now be like, I knew them before they were weird? Or are you going to be like, yeah, I saw that coming? For favorite color, I think is different depending on category, from wearing to what you like. Yes, exactly, Monty Ryan. That's also a good point. What you like to see someone wearing, car, home, mood, yeah. It's just, it's not, you can't always just have one color to be your favorite for everything. I don't wear orange. Other than every single day. Know what you did last summer is the best because it's a movie but can also be a creepy quote. Ew! Do you love squishies? I do love squishies, but I don't have any squishies. I like plushes. Anyhow, just say Lopunny. No. I don't want to say Lopunny. Who's my favorite? Maybe I can say Vaporeon, though. Close questions are nothing to an ex-salesman or the takeaway. No, thank you. Your favorite Pokemon is definitely Dua Lipa. Well, now that Dua Lipa is the only person that I can spend the rest of my life with, I just like the idea of every single Pokemon being Dua Lipa now. Just like this little Bulbasaur, but it's Dua Lipa's face, and then she's just got a bulb on her back. Adorable. I love it. Okay. I can be just as totally childish and emotional as any child. Thank you, C Mama. See, the proof's in the pudding. Emotionally immature might be one, yeah. Okay. There is be a test. Huh? I missed what that was. Sorry, made in Germany. I also find it funny when people like this person, if they came in, the first message that they said was, nobody cares about what she's saying. I don't know what that is supposed to achieve. Because clearly they can see people are talking and therefore people do care. If they think that I would be offended by it, I'm not, because refer back to point 1. You know what I mean? Would you ever consider what you do is bullying or only their words? Can you squibble dibble? I've only just seen this message. If you're still here, I'm happy to answer that more, but I think I will need a little bit more clarification. So I think the clarification I would want is, do you feel like I have come across as bullying? Because if so, I would genuinely like to hear from that, because I would hate for that to be a yes, and if it is, then that's something that I can work on, you know. But if you're not here, we won't address it. Something less controversial. What's your stop it, Boba? It's fascinating how there's that whole cultural change of swapping blue and pink like that. Well, I actually learnt something about this, but I will pause there. Before I cover it, basically it was marketing. Horse. If you're still here, once I'm caught up, tell me to tell you about the pink and blue knowledge I have. I love whoever it is making sure you're releasing trap gas. Very healthy check, exactly. You forgot to do that? Go fart immediately, otherwise it will be bad for your tum-tum. Questions are always black and white. Have you farted on stream yet? I genuinely I have had this conversation not too long ago. I have yet to fart on stream. Like I guess I don't know if it's like that years of conditioning as a woman to like that we don't fart. It's just kind of made me trap all my gas and be very unhealthy. But while streaming, I never get the need. It's just like, it's kind of, I guess, like when you go to work, you find your sneaky moments to fart. I find that I just don't need to when I'm sitting here. And I mean that very, very genuinely. Like sometimes if I've had a bathroom break, I might go do something over there. Just like a little, ooh. But I don't know if it's my diet. Anyway, so very transparently, I don't do it when on front of the camera. I also don't do it even if I'm muted, because I get too scared that I've accidentally not muted myself. So then I just don't even do it, even like right now. One moment. What if I accidentally messed up, you know? What if I accidentally didn't mute and then I've done a little sneaky? I just, damn it, I knew it. I was using that as an example to try and change my streak of not farting on stream, and here I am, screwing it up. Gah! I knew I wasn't muted. I knew it. And this is exactly why you shouldn't be farting on stream in front of the camera, because you don't know. You don't know, okay? So if I am to do it, I have fully left the room. I've triple checked that I'm muted. I've also done this in my old place where I was concerned that the sound would pick up, that like based on how my house was set up. Here it wouldn't be an issue, but I was like, they're gonna hear me pee. So I would be so vigilant that my mic was muted, just so that they also can't hear me pee. Anywho, blame it on the cat. I don't have a cat. Unless you're saying blame it on the pussy, then I think that will be a whole nother conversation. Exactly, Cody Cameron. Exactly. Oh yes, the mason jar. We can sell it. If everyone stays quiet, you can hear Yaya crying. No, Mr. Money, did you not see what they said? They said that they were not mad. That they don't have any, no, you're fine, Ron, I can see that one, you're fine. They were not mad, and they were not emotional about the situation whatsoever. So they can't be crying if they're telling the truth. Hey, you dusted your whole house. Nice. We had a warm day, so I a couple days ago, so I opened all the windows. But it was raining yesterday, so I got super muggy. The most triggering streamer on the internet. Me? What the frick? What if you created an amazing internal mythos that lets you conclude being conflict avoidant is the best solution? I don't know who Daniel Penny is, but if you have gone out of your way to create an entire I guess it would be ethos, right? Rather than mythos. Then I just got to respect it. And if it is convincing enough, then I'll change my mind. Hi, Silver. Break wind. That's the one. What fish? Oh, I do want to answer this. I think that with the backdrop rather, and the coloring, especially with this today, I would be a clownfish. But also because clownfish aren't even funny. So I think that it would be accurate. I think I would be a clownfish. What fish would you be? Clownfish. Okay. Oh my god, I just saw this. I'm taking Viagra and prune juice. I can't tell if I'm coming or going. Well, just as a reminder, Viagra doesn't make one ejaculate. So it's funny, but it's not accurate. And jokes are only funny if they're accurate. Got it? There's a skill in avoiding heated situations. I will avoid arguments in traffic. Yes, not that I am weak and I don't have the dignity to protect someone saying shit about my parents, but if you go far to be physical, yes. And I think this is very reasonable, Crossbow. On top of that, I can tell you from my own experience that there are several situations that I have just not responded to them because I recognize that the best scenario to deal with these dynamics between me and another person is how I'm going to phrase it without spilling too much tea, is simply to not engage in what they were trying to get me to engage in. And it's really tough because you get a message, let's say, and you really just want to respond to that message. And that is that emotional reactive, what's the word? Reactionary, there we go, response. And so, yes, I completely agree that there are times where avoiding conflict and avoiding and engaging in certain things is the correct solution. But conflict avoidant is very different to conflict avoidance. Being conflict avoidant means that you consistently stay away from confrontation. And that is not healthy either. Confrontation is good. As an example, my friend and I, this is one of my D&D friends. I'm obsessed with her. And we were talking about music and she said all of these things. And I was like, wow, you're just incredible. But that's not my point. My point is that we started up a conversation that was about how difficult it can be to correct someone, essentially. And so they were saying how basically it took them a long time to even get people to say their name correctly. I don't want to say their name because I don't want to dox them. But basically, their name is one that would be pronounced incorrectly several different ways. Like you read it, and so maybe if we say like Anna versus Anna, because that's not their name. So I think that is that is a good example. They were saying that for years and years and years and years, they just would have been called Anna. Like people read their name, they see it and go, oh, okay, Anna, is Anna here? Yes, I'm Anna. It's me. I'm Anna. Or rather, I'm Anna. And then people would not take that correction. And so it wasn't until they were basically a teenager where they were now making sure to say, no, sorry, my name's actually Anna. And now, of course, we call her Anna because it's a very simple correction to make. And but if one is conflict avoidant, then that correction would never occur. And so sometimes even this small instance, it is really good to be able to face confrontation, so that you can literally just have your name corrected. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. My name is Terry, but I pronounce it Terry. Oh, sorry. Should I be saying Terry? Oh, I'm so sorry. Ooh. Okay. Well, I will now say Terry from now on, unless you don't want me to commit to the bit, because I will commit to the bit, Terry. I will commit to the bit. Don't test me, Tari. Clem taking a long time before reading messages, brilliant scheme to keep people watching for longer. Exactly. I'm actually a genius in my craft. How's it living with your magnetic boots? Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. Without my magnetic boots, it's so nice. I can wear whatever I want. I can be like trendy. I can wear anything. It's awesome. Mod, shall we just get rid of this person? I feel like that is the yeah. Thank you. The gum boots as well. I know you're not talking about the magnetic boots, but I wore my gum boots yesterday because it was raining, and I was like, my gum boots! I love my gum boots. Anyhow, strategic conflict avoidance is necessary life skill. Exactly, but recognizing when that is the best time, like, you know, road rage individuals, it's not worth engaging, but other times it is necessary to have confrontation. And confrontation doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Hi, Archer, good to see you. Bye, Ricardos. I lost my precious, exactly. You think I am of Nordic ancestry? Not quite. I'm afraid of looking underneath the bed. Sorry to bring it back. The whole you're not playing the game right seems to be part of lack of emotional intelligence or not having the social skill to roll with a real conversation. Do we need to start a social skills class in schools? I'd love to see social skills class in schools. I think that it will be interesting. I don't know if it will be in our lifetime, but I do think that we are seeing more schools that are introducing other aspects. I remember when I was a kid, we did like movement classes, and some schools do yoga now, and I think these are really good things and habits to build at an early age that carry over into adulthood. Sports, for example, is another one to get kids moving during school time, and I think that communication and socialization a lot of the time is just kind of defaulted. Well, there's a whole bunch of kids in the room, so they will learn, oh my god. Mods, I'm so sorry guys. What we'll do, I can help you out, Mods. We'll do maybe a sub-only mode and see how that helps. As you can see, there's someone who is trying to try to get around the moderation and is just making a whole bunch of stuff. So we're just going to pause everything and work on that. So I think so I'm going to do sub-only mode, custom duration. This is so stupid. We'll do sub-only mode for an hour on the this is on the horizontal one, so it should be fine for you verticals. And then I'll put on a slow mode. Sorry, horizontals. You've got slow mode on and sub-only mode just to help with this person. They're doing incredibly well, I can tell you. Yeah, they're a villain, exactly. Pancake, hopefully it doesn't affect you too much. I can tell you they have made several accounts. The mods are doing like incredible work. But when someone has their mind set to something, she made me sub, then that is what's going on. She's AI, it's true. I'm glad someone is at least recognizing who I am and my identity. A poo-poo eater, I just... Someone also said she a poo-poo eater, bruh. How did you know? I thought my secret was kept. Thank you, mods, though. Okay, I didn't realize I sneak dissed someone, but they sneak dissed me, I'm sure. Am I still allowed in the hood? I don't know what that one was for, Pancake, though. I don't know this this song, but hopefully you're okay. I feel like, mods, we have to figure out a way for you to turn on slow mode yourself. So maybe that's something that we can look into for the YouTube live, because at this stage, at this stage, it feels like the way to turn on slow mode is so convoluted and so ridiculous, or sub only mode. And I think that would be really, really helpful for people like this Vey individual that we will try and we'll try and get the mods away, like maybe a command. Maybe there's a way that we can create a command that talks to everything. Ugh. YouTube moderation is so bad, guys. Okay. Oh, okay. Corey has a fish fact. I think that a lot of this is now all about just farting and whatnot, so I think I can just skip through that. This Vey person said, you banned me for no reason, so now I'm giving you a reason to, despite the fact that they tried to say very words that they shouldn't do. I don't know why they do this. Yeah, we watched it yesterday, Lexington Practical Magic. Sorry, guys, I didn't see the offending. I should say the name thing when I taught Ethiopian students. Oh, really? Killed with Kindness is still such a good name, though. Hello. Happy weekend, Atomic Hat. Sonic the Hedgehog just gave birth. Oh, congratulations to them. Oh, I'd be conflict avoidant of it, not because I lack any of the confidence to correct them. This is for saying the incorrect name. I just don't care what people call me as long as I know they're talking to me. Guys, this was actually a fake story. The story was about me. You guys keep on calling me Clem when it's Clean. Can you guys please make sure to say Clean? I finally am feeling bold enough to correct you all. It's not Clem, it's Clean. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Teachers always got their names wrong and they gave up correcting them. That is a teacher issue, though. Mary versus Marie story. That's a good example. Thanks, Silver. Told them to never stop correcting a person who gets your name wrong. Yes, that is the correct thing. Killed with Kindness. I'm so glad that that is the lesson that you taught them. I am very, very, very pleased to hear this. Thank you, because it is not acceptable. And those kinds of things where it's like, oh, just don't make a fuss. That bleeds over into other elements. If you can't even correct someone, I mean, Horse, you're another example, but if you can't even correct someone on how to pronounce your name, then imagine when it comes to, I'm going to go the extreme, things like consent. It is so ridiculous that we have this expectation that it is. I have to get my thoughts together. It is incredibly important to teach children to make sure to set their boundaries early on trivial things, because it's not trivial, it's your name. Because otherwise, how can we expect them to do that on heavier issues? That's the one. Theory. Cleam or Cleam. So it is spelt C-L-E-M, but God. But people have just been saying it incorrectly. Just because it's spelt like how you would think Clem is, it's still spelt the same. It's just pronounced Clean. My last name has been pronounced so many different ways. I just go, yeah, it's actually pronounced good, good. If you weren't for your gum books, where would you be? Be in the hospital or infirmary. Hey, knows it. Clementine's favorite pastime is correcting grammar to the point it's now cyberbullying for me. Dyslexia gang, feeling bad. You're not the only one with dyslexia. I'm sorry. The thing is that I love words. I love grammar. There are several times where I will also do something and I'm like, oh, that's the incorrect grammar, or is it the correct grammar? And then I'll double check the grammar. And the only thing that I will say in terms of grammar is that I do try not to shame someone for their bad grammar, but I recognize that I accidentally do it when I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. And that's not me trying to be bullying. Well, and maybe if I ever do this, please call me out for it, because it would make me feel really bad if people think that I am bullying them for their grammar. But it is just more like because I'm quite particular with my grammar, I suppose, and spelling, sometimes I do struggle with text communication because I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to communicate, and I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I don't mean that from a bad place. I just need the clarification. Confrontation is good, exactly. Hard work beats lazy skill. Amen. I don't know who Issa is. Sorry, Tastic. Ancestry I found in life are regions of foods people enjoy or attract to. Ancestry. How does that relate to ancestry? Sorry, Yoda. Do let me know. I don't think my mods are having panic attacks. The thing is, like, this they're not even a troll, but the person who is creating all of these accounts and the whole panic attack. I don't think the mods are having a panic attack. They're just rolling their eyes. That's the thing. But they're getting, I guess that person was getting their rocks off. If you get bigger on YouTube, 1 or 5 minute sub is a must from personal experience. Thank you, Crossbow. That's actually genuinely good. Yes, we're learning. We're just it's fine. But most people have been okay. Not sure if IP bans work. No, I like they say that they do. They don't. For the sub only mode, I also agree that I think that it is, and Mods and I have spoken about this. I like allowing people the opportunity to chat without needing to be subbed. But on the horizontal, we've put it on sub only mode just to help with the person who is being a nasty individual. Hi, Huckleberry. How you going? Yes, there is a hole in my wall, but that's why we gotta fill it with some cuties. Hope you're well, dude, bards. Okay. I have to get my thoughts together. AI has to scroll the internet for the correct wording. Yeah, it's just a loading screen. I'm thinking about it. People mispronounce my Twitch name all the time. The Glorious Butt God. I'm so sorry that I probably pronounced it incorrectly in that case. No one has said my name right in so long. I've forgotten what it even sounds like. Oh, foreign land. That's kind of understandable, at least. But I'm sure that there will be one person who will say it correctly, and they're like, oh my god. Hired an entomologist to teach me about words. That's the one. It's the one. Bad grammar, sure, but what about bad grammar? A little bit of a gilf. No, wait. That's not what we're talking about. Don't forget to like the stream for our boy Cleem. Thank you. I need to work on my pronunciation because you hate my accent. Like, what is this person trying to achieve? I don't know if they got timed out. I haven't seen... I don't see anything. Oh no, they did get timed out. But like, what is this person trying to achieve? We all know that I have incredibly clear cadence. You might you might not like the sound of my voice, but there are a few people that I would say have I guess not clearer pronunciation, but we all know that I am incredibly easy to understand, other than maybe if I'm speaking really fast to people who are where English is their second language. So what is this person trying to achieve with saying I need to work on my pronunciation? That is the whole reason that my accent gets mistaken, because I have anyway, you guys know. I don't need to continue. And so I just find it funny. It's like, are they trying to offend me? Because I'm not offended. I'm just bewildered. I'm bewildered that this person has chosen to try and talk shit about my pronunciation. Like I said, I understand like the dialect, the accent. Maybe you don't like nasality, of which I don't think I have it very high of, but regardless, you might not like the sound of it, but to call it as pronunciation, come off it. No, we all know that my pronunciation is great. There are a few things that I will brag about, but my pronunciation is one of them. But I guess because we were talking about grammar, they were like, I'm going to use this as my way to come in and say, you're wrong. Like, the thing that you're talking about that you think you're good at, you're wrong about that. Come on, get out of here. And they are out of there. But anyway, it's just interesting. People are interesting. I'm dyslexic and I easily recognize grammar problems because I love to hyper-focus on it. Being concise helps me, but I fail often. Just last night, for instance. I didn't actually know you were dyslexic. There we go. It's like when people say milk instead of milk. Or Fred... No, I don't know who Fred Mayers? Fred. Am I saying Fred wrong? I prefer to be criticized for my grammar because grammar is my weakness suit compared to my understanding math. There we go. You sing well, thank you. Mean Clean. The mods are having panic attacks. They suddenly start stealing pens. It's true. It's their little vice. Hard work. Hold on. I'm not Australian. I'm a New Zealander. Wolfpaw. Where is this? Hard work beats lazy skill. Explain further. Alien. I don't think that I need. Look. There's a work smarter versus work harder mentality that I understand, but I think that you yourself understand that if you have the skill and you do nothing with it, that of course the person who works hard is going to most times be more successful. So I think that if we are going to use a simple example is gifted people in school, for example, they often will be able to pass tests without needing to study. By the time they get to university, that becomes a lot harder, and they haven't now developed 5, 6, 10 plus years of studying. And so the people that they were outperforming in adolescence, maybe even high school, start then outperforming them because they have now built the habits of being able to be resourceful and study. And so these same gifted individuals fall behind in university and then have other crises. If you don't think that's accurate and you don't take my word for it as a non-expert, I suggest to go watch Healthy Gamer GG, Dr. K. He speaks a lot about this phenomena, and that is where I have picked up on that. So I can even cite my source there. When you're talking naming, says Crossbow, what is your stand on people insisting on personal pronouns? Sorry, she, her, them. My stand is if you say it politely, sorry, call me this, I can do that. But if you call me yes, no, Crossbow, I completely agree. I think that the internet has made us incredibly on edge of misgendering someone. Because we see a lot of the extremes of people, like you say now, calling out transphobia, calling one transphobic for using an incorrect pronoun. Whereas the reality is a lot of people who do have the incorrect pronoun used on them will often not say anything. And it is, at least from my experience and my feelings on, again, conflict avoidance, that a lot of people who are non-binary or transgender will unfortunately repress that and just, again, try not to put up a fuss. And so I do not think that using the incorrect pronouns should default to being now called a transphobe, but I think a lot of that feeling comes from what we've seen on the internet rather than a real world situation. I can tell you from my own example, I made an assumption on someone who had a partner. I said, oh, so like, because they're doing long distance, I was like, oh, when do you get to see him? And I made the incorrect assumption. They have a female partner. And so I just said, oh, my apologies. And then from there, I used the correct term. And that was like, I still feel very guilty about it as well. This was very recent. Like I harbored more guilt probably than needed to be. And I also say this as someone who is queer themselves. It was an incorrect assumption that I made, and now it's corrected. And that was as deep as the conversation went. It was just like, oh, okay, my bad, like, move on. And I choose to believe that that would be the majority of situations, where it's like, oh, actually, I prefer these pronouns. And it's like, okay, my apologies. And then listening to that shows that you are acting in good faith. And this fear of using incorrect pronouns can be eliminated by a few ways. One, introducing yourself with your pronouns. I know that is very unnatural for a lot of people at the moment. We haven't had that that system in place for several centuries, and so it would be somewhat unnatural for a while. But we've had these things in place before of using the correct titles for doctors, or maybe back in the nobility days of lady, ma'am, all these kinds of things. And so I do think that it is very easy to do, but I know that that will be a slow graduation that we probably we are seeing in our lifetime. But it might be a while before that turns into something that is so super commonly used, you know, at the end of an email. And then that way the, hi DJ, you don't have to spam. And so that way you can use the correct one. And if you accidentally slip up, then that's okay as well. Just as long as you are yourself making sure to make that correction. And this is also even if you don't agree with it, like that is, it is, okay. Here is a incredibly easy way of looking at things. Someone whose name is James, let's say. If they introduce themselves as Jimmy, you call them Jimmy. If you are now saying, oh, James, can you do this? And they're like, hey, please call me, like, you can just call me Jimmy. Just call them Jimmy. And so nicknames, I do think, are an example of how easy it is for us to switch from one view of a person to another. Where it's like, okay, well, you don't have to call me Clementine every single time. You can call me Clem. And that is like an easy switch to make, right? And if I said, hey, I would actually prefer you to call me Clem, I'm sure that you guys would be able to do that very easily. And people who have transitioned and maybe get new names altogether, have adopted an entirely new name. I know people who haven't even transitioned and they choose to use their middle name as opposed to their first name. And sometimes people will say the dead name, and then it's just on you to correct yourself. And what other points did I want to make about this before moving on? That's the one, Boba. So yes, I agree. But I would just challenge your thought of making sure that you don't think that you're going to be called transphobic because of what you've seen on the internet. Because I really do believe that a lot of people in the trans or non-binary community will more than likely either not say anything themselves because they don't want to kick up a fuss, or if they correct it, then you can, in your control, just be like, oh, my apologies, I'll make sure to use that going forward. And that's as far as the conversation should go. How are you adjusting to living? Oh, I'm not in Manchester, I'm in Southampton. I love it. There is no culture shock. I am making friends due to Dubai's. I have a D&D group that I go to every single week, and I love them dearly. One of the members I even message quite frequently offline, and we just like chat about nothing and everything. It's great. And yeah, I really, really like my life in England at the moment. That might change. I don't know, but I would like to explore more of it as well and see some of the other things, which would be cool. Yeah. Oh, Alien, I did see that you said skill equals a luxury of laziness. I don't think that I would phrase it like that. I think laziness can be a luxury of skill is how I would put that equation. It's been over 2 years and I'm too scared to tell her it's pronounced Bob for like Robert the Mass. Hilarious. It's pronunciation. That's what I was saying. That's my whole point. I made that entire point when I was talking about my pronunciation. That was exactly the joke I made. Anyway. Can be skilled and you'd win if you put work in, but if you're lazy with your talents, then someone less than you will beat you. Be the one that works hard, whether skilled or not. Yes, that is a great way of looking at it. It's just, but I think also there is this hustle culture. I probably won't get into it today, but it has been something that I've been wanting to talk about there, and we have spoken about it on stream before. Hustle culture can be really, really detrimental as well. So I think, and I say that from experience as well. But I think there's a difference between working hard and pushing yourself into this like hustle culture. Hi, Shana, good to see you. Real person versus AI. Okay, I'll open this up and maybe we can watch this. There are so many Pokemon out there. I also agree. Lucario is cool. Yeah, there's too many. There's literally over 1,000. It's ridiculous. Come to California, babe. Will you pay for it? Where did you learn to speak English? I grew up on English. I am English. Well, not British. I'm not English either. I grew up in an English-speaking country. There we go. Not that you can tell based on that terrible grammar. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I grew up in New Zealand. Hermione? It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. Milk is Dutch as well. That's cute. Hi, Aman. Good to see you. Couldn't understand a single word she just said. Leafeon. Love the name, by the way. You find hard work beats lazy skill. I find it illogical. So what about it makes you think that it's illogical, Alien? Because I think that you asked me to explain, but I think that instead of me explaining that, let's see where you're coming from, and then we can work from there. I'm loquacious as fuck, but my dyslexia has me knocked back down to Trump levels of vocabulary online. The fact that you even said on live instead of online is just beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, out of personal experience, people who put in the work will eventually pass those lazy skill bastards who don't need to put in the work. Exactly. Clem sounds posh. It may have reminded me of this trolly individual for a posh headmaster he didn't like in school. Tattoo your pronouns on your head. Exactly. then it'll be fine. But that's the thing is we shall all be tattooed then. I had someone who put a really good point though. If you guys are struggling with the pronouns, imagine if someone, if you, because look, I am going to do generalizations. I am, because sometimes that is the easiest way to understand where someone is coming from. I am aware that the majority of the audience right now are guys, and probably cis guys. I am very proud of the fact that we have women in our community, that we have trans women in our community. It's very cool. But I am not ignorant. I know that there is a large male population in our community. So, with that, now the constituents that were, what's it called? The data that we are working with. There we go. If you are a guy and someone called you a girl, that would be quite, like, sorry? It would be jarring, right? And look no further than the fact that that has been an insult for literally centuries, where it's like, oh, like you throw like a girl. Like this was meant to be an insult. There's another argument to be had in that regard where I'm like, oh, why? Anyway. But that was meant to be an insult. It was meant, and so calling men women, or girls rather, because it's usually girls where it's like, oh, don't be such a girl, is meant to be an insult. And how can it be an insult unless you are affected by that in itself, right? So if I was like, hey, you like James, she can go do this, right? And then James is like, what? Did you just call me she? Like, that would be jarring and uncomfortable, right? Even if you don't want to say that would be maddening, it would be uncomfortable. And so if you being called a girl would make you uncomfortable, that's kind of what trans people are experiencing pretty much every single day of their life. The fact that they are spoken about when they're not even in the conversation, that is where I find it quite upsetting. We are speaking on behalf of these people. Even right now, we are speaking on behalf of these people. And the fact that their orientation is constantly put on blast, I think is bullying. I do. It is so inconsequential to the majority of us. And so I think it is good to have conversations so that when we do encounter people, that we are just acting normal and remembering that they are people. However, like anyone, regardless of their gender, regardless of their orientation, if they are a dick, then they are a dick. That should not be representation of the group that they are in. If you come across a nasty woman, please don't now assume all women are nasty. And similarly, even this like hashtag not all men, I do understand it. It is really difficult when you constantly encounter issues with the same kind of demographic, but that should not be indicative or representative of the larger community. And this is also in religion, for example. There's a lot of people who are very discriminatory. I was debating on whether or not I will use the higher end of the rather than criticism, higher end of the spectrum when it comes to the words. There are a lot of people who are very discriminatory against certain groups, like in religion, because of the extremists. Whereas a lot of people who are religious, they just do their own thing in their own home, and it shouldn't be it shouldn't now reflect on the whole religion. So, point being, just remember that not, especially on the internet, not everyone speaks for the majority, and it's about just talking to the person that you encounter and checking in with them. And I've done that. I've recently, because I've been meeting new people, being in a new country, I had an individual that I went out of my way to see what pronouns they prefer. And that really meant a lot to them because they've got a very femme name, but they prefer they them rather than she her. And I went out of my way to ask that question, so that I can now say they prefer they them. And again, it is as simple as that. It really shouldn't go that much deeper. I'll come back to this crossbow. As you can see, it is moving up, and so I'll just scroll down when I've got to it. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, and for some reason they speak Vietnamese. Ooh. Well, luckily someone knows. Unfortunate that you don't speak Vietnamese yourself. So Terry says, it's not important to me. If you call me ma'am, it wouldn't offend me. I got a beard and shit. I think you were slow or something, but wouldn't get mad. Exactly. And that's the thing where it's like, okay, I think it can be really good. And this is for trans people as well. I feel like it would be a good thing to take away. And it's hard when you've been oppressed and had hate crimes and whatnot just because of who you are. But I do think that it would be a nice takeaway in theory, because in practice, you know, we are emotional after all. But in theory, I guess, and in my personal practice, I try to do exactly what you've said, Terry, of you are the problem rather than me. And there's no help in me adding fire to the fuel. Wait, fuel to the fire, other way around. Thanks, Silver. Lord Yoda. Well, now I know. Now I know your title. I'm well, Sober King. I hope you're well as well. Can I call you Betty and you can call me... Does that say AI or L? Because that is one where it is not a grammar issue or a reading issue. I can't tell. Nicknames are a form of affection, but it's not always about affection. It can be about preferred expression as well. I have several names depending on who is talking to me. I'm fine with my family calling me by my birth name. I introduce myself with my nickname. Some call me other names that it will get me banned if I mention them here. Oh. Big confession, I'm a little transphobic. I don't like that they're stuck on tracks. I didn't see that it said transphobic. Ridiculous. Yeah, exactly, Finny. I agree. Just you do you. They should just mind their own business. I did watch regular show. I haven't watched every single episode, but I really liked it. Ham boning. Are you a dude? Yeah, I'm a dude. What do you think about imagination? It's one of the most beautiful things that we have. I love imagination. Imagination's great. I don't really know how I can just easily dive into that. It's such a broad concept. Imagination is phenomenal. It's great. I love it. Okay, I'm trails. Okay. I don't walk on them. Hilarious. I agree that is how it should be. Sadly, that's not the world we live in. Exactly, yes. Kindness is free, but others may not agree. Some people just like to be dicks, I guess, and I don't understand it. And in that sense, I don't know what else. I've shared my opinion, and that's the other thing, is all I am able to do is share my opinion. I cannot change anyone's mind. If people are coming on here and asking what my opinion is, I can now share it. If you are trying to change my mind, you simply cannot. One moment. Ron, thank you for the 3 years. I cannot believe it has been that long. Much appreciated. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Thank you. So, if you are trying to change my mind, I guess, why? Just why? Why? So I very much look at it as, I think it is super important to hear from other people's perspectives. I think it's really important to hear their stories. And then you yourself come to the judgment and conclusion that you want to. I cannot do that for you. It should be onto you. It's mimosa, not mimosa. I love it, Gary G. Love it. What does cis mean again? So Kiwi man, cis is basically someone who is not transitioned. Hopefully, I don't know if someone else said that earlier, but yeah, there we go. 9 Fox. It's very simple. So trans man is someone who has transitioned to now identify as a man. A trans woman, someone who identifies as a woman. Cis is basically if you are that you have not transitioned. Very simple like that. Hopefully that helps. I haven't thought about it in terms of sexual orientation as well. Yeah, straight. You are. I wouldn't say it's straight because that's more hetero. So you'd say someone who is hetero cis man or woman would be someone who's straight and hasn't transitioned. So no, it is not just straight. I just want to make sure that correction is correct. That correction has happened. So let's be very clear again. Yes, exactly, Schmick. So cis is to do with gender rather than sexual orientation for the most part. Maybe in the future we'll see this term adopted for other areas. But when talking about sexual orientation, as in the person that you're attracted to, that's usually where you hear the terms hetero, bi, gay, queer. Queer is a bit more of an umbrella term. And then cis is more about your gender orientation. Hopefully that's a bit more clear. So then trans, someone who's transitioned. Cis, someone who has not transitioned. Okay. Is biological gender the same as social gender? So a lot of these questions I have considered, how would I feel if someone asks them? Because I see them asked a lot on other platforms. And how would I want to answer it? So for example, there is like, how do you define a woman? I don't know. Like, so many people are like, oh, if you can't define a woman, blah, 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 blah. It's like, I am a woman. I don't know how I would define them. I don't know what I am supposed to say in that regard. And not even from a social thing, or like even because even if we want to do the science, there are anomalies and outliers there. I just feel like it is an odd thing to ask. And so my point is that if someone were to ask, like you have now, of biological gender versus social gender, I have been trying to figure out if it is a conversation that I would engage in the public in general. Because of the it's not even backlash, because I do think that I have a very I look at things from a very kind perspective, I suppose. I do think that biology, we do have different biology. Like a lot of people have different biology. That's not just about gender. I do understand separation of sex and gender, where it's like your biological sex rather than your gender. I do think that there are plenty of people out there who recognize that the body that they have been born with doesn't feel like who they are. I do not know if the socialization of labels and identity for gender, how cultural it is, or how societal it is. And you can hear I'm being very careful with my words, because I haven't it's not that I haven't necessarily thought a lot about it. I have thought a lot about it. I just don't have a nice, clear, and concise way to express my thoughts. However, what I will say is that there are a lot of cultures that do have more than two genders. There are a lot of cultures that do have what we would label as trans people just in the community without being ostracized. And that to me suggests that the culture and societal expectation that we have, usually in a Western context, is cultural and is societal and is social, because it is not in other cultures. Thailand. And so therefore for me, I wonder how much we would care about it if we were not being told to care about it. I think that is pretty much all I have for my thoughts now. You can obviously ask more questions, but that's basically where I've gotten to at the moment. Science flies people to the moon, religion flies people into buildings. That is nasty, Richard. But all women do have cooties, exactly right. Remember being called gay in school? Thankfully, Hilary Duff fixed it. In the early 2000s, now we respect everyone and have self-flying cars with blowjob features. It's great. Thank you, Hilary Duff, you know? Okay. When I was in military, I called a girl sir. Oh, but I feel like that is actually an understandable time where you would misgender someone, because I can imagine military. Like, my immediate thought is like, sir, yes, sir. And it would be different to now say, like, what was Terry? Do you remember what they wanted you to say? Like, and what was the yelling? Like, did you just call me sir? Sir, yes, sir. Well, you shouldn't be calling me sir. Sir, yes, sir. Honestly, Terry, you could make an hilarious skit out of that. I really do think you could make a really funny skit out of that. I don't know how I would do it because it's not my experience, but there's a lot there that would make a very funny skit. Okay, question. How many atheists does it take to change a light bulb? I don't know. 2. 1 to change the light bulb and the other to record it so the religious can't like God did it. That's quite funny. How many religious people does it take to change a light bulb? None. They just sit in the dark and demand you accept that the light is still on. No, that can be also cultural, I suppose. Your accent is pretty. Thank you, Chris. Okay, so now crossbow. I'm finally caught up. In my view, if someone called me wrong, I will ask one time and go. At one time and go. If other calling me incorrectly consistently, I will move on. I don't want to force other to do what I want to. And on top of that, a lot of English speaking don't understand how other languages work. Yes, Crossbow, you're so correct in that. You would know yourself, speaking multiple languages. Words do have genders. Forcing gender is impractical in other language. As someone who speaks German, I definitely understand where you're coming from. For example, when people say, why did we think cats were girls and dogs were boys? Well, if you look at another language other than English, it's literally inbuilt into the language. So German is the one that I am familiar with. The word for the dog and the cat are different. Der Hund is the dog, but die Katze is the cat. These are gendered words. And so, of course, we thought that they were boys and girls because the majority of the world has gendered language. It just makes sense. Der, no, D-E-R. Das is neutral, see mama. I don't know if it's different in Dutch, but in German it's D-E-R for masculine. Das would be for neutral ones. And so, yes, I do agree that that English, we have a lot of non-gendered words. And so even for something like pronouns, I can refer to people with the now singular neutral term they, them. That often was used for plural, but now it can be used singularly. And that was before a lot of the conversations around trans people were happening. Although I say before, conversations around trans people have been happening for a long time. It's more that it's been happening a lot on the internet. The fact that we're even talking about it now is an example of that we are having these conversations over literally anything else. And so with that in mind, I do think a language like English, it can be easier to have more neutral terminology. But we have seen that change in English as well. So you can still see remnants of it, of waiter versus waitress. And then it will maybe like a policeman versus a policewoman. Now we can say a police officer. So there is the change in language. And I think that English, especially being the predominant language for, let's say, the internet and all the places that we frequent, as in the people who are listening right now, I think that it is changing, and maybe I'm wrong about this. An etymologist or linguist might be able to weigh in more on this. But I wonder, so this is not something that I have looked into, it's just literally a curiosity. I wonder if the rate of which of which English is evolving is incredibly fast compared to what it once was, which would make sense. We have more people speaking. We have now internet lingo. So we, in our lifetimes, have seen the English language adopt so many new words. And that alone shows this evolution, right? And so I do wonder if there are, you got it, Q-Man. I knew you'd get there. I do wonder if there's this exponential growth and transformation in English. I can't speak for that in other languages. I think that German is seeing a little bit of neutrality coming into some of their words, but I don't know for sure. I'd have to ask more German people. And if you guys speak other languages, let me know what your thoughts are there. Well, devolve. I don't think devolve. I like to think that we evolve to where we don't have words at all. There could be maybe some people could throw that together more like 1984. What's the word? Not doublespeak. There's doublespeak. What are they called? Anyway, more towards this like neutral language that they have in 1984. Anyway, so my point is relating that back. I definitely prefer Dua Lipa now. I think I actually am going to start becoming a Dua Lipa fan because of this conversation. It's going to be so ridiculous, and it's going to be a great origin story. So point being, that you are absolutely correct, Crossbow, is like you said about finding the times to engage in conflict versus avoiding it. I think you understand that. And I just try to practice the idea of giving people the benefit of the doubt. If they now prove to me that they are not going to be acting in good faith, then I will try and move away from that. And the worst part is, though, that it can shape our experiences for the future. And now we're also getting other people's experiences that are shaping yours. So, for example, my experience and sharing my story might now shape how you see a certain thing. I don't have a good example at the moment, admittedly. And it can be really hard to overcome that. But that is basically what I try to practice, is just my guiding light being give people the benefit of the doubt, let them prove themselves. And then if they prove themselves wrong, not make it about their demographic that they're a part of, and make it about them personally. Anywho, I'm glad that Mr. Armo can speak for everyone, at least. All I know is when my bones are dug up, there are 2 descriptions used when identifying remains. I think if you're talking about, like, these bones are indicative of a male skeleton versus a female skeleton. I think that's what you're referencing, Corey. I know that there have been a lot of misgendered skeleton bones, and so that is something that I personally am not so convinced on yet, because I know that it has happened when
I'm doing my part.
Misidentified fossils in terms of gender. It's a lot of guesswork, and don't get me wrong, they've done a lot of research to try and narrow down that guesswork, but I'm not fully convinced that about the skeletons just yet. More evidence required for me before I feel confident that we can identify skeleton gender. I know that there can be people who are
I'm doing my part.
who reference like the wideness of hips, but as someone who doesn't have very wide hips, I don't really feel like that's applicable as well. Anyhow, when I meet people speaking Spanish, I always say mucho. That's so cute. I like it. How is nature binary? If so, explain evolution. I missed where someone talking about nature being binary is. Okay. Oh, my darling. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Let me have a look. Okay. I think I will come back here and I will catch up. I feel like this boils down to sticks and stones. These words can only hurt you if you let them affect you, whatever that group may be in any aspect. As a whole, individuals should not speak or take offense on behalf of said group, no matter how much you think you know. It may be a bit awkward to talk about it, but it's better to ask and inform oneself. Yes, I absolutely agree with this mentality myself. I do recognize that it is really good for us to try and allow for human rights. Obviously it would be nice for us to not be ostracized just because we're trying to live, essentially. But I think a lot of my view does come down to the like you say, of if I try and let it not affect me, then that's kind of all I can do. And if that is a naive take, then so be it, but I guess that's just my opinion. Transformophobic, those robots are in disguise. They can be anything, and that's scary. Yeah, nicknames aren't always about affection, exactly. I got called tits by coworkers in some kitchens. I didn't say anything because I'm not a dick. I don't want to rock the boat. If others may get splashed, even if they're whacking me with the oars. Exactly that. That's the conflict avoidant again. A lot of people just don't want to speak up because they're afraid of further bullying, let's say. In your case, I should say. All the best, Ian. I'd love to change your mind, but I'm not a trained brain surgeon. That would be illegal. We can still try. I identify as a drunk, hilarious drunk poet. You've done well with your naming in that case. The term cisgender has its own origin in the Latin-derived prefix cis, meaning on this side of. Okay, there we go. Whereas trans is across from. Brilliant. What is your favorite type of cis? Mine is Parmigiano Reggiano, as in like cheese. My goodness. When I first started coming across the term cis, I thought it was an acronym for comfortable in skin. That's hilarious. I like that. And then I was like, well, then anyone can be cis as long as they're comfortable in their skin. That's kind of adorable. An adult human female. The fact you're so tentative around the usage of hyper-aware or not offending. Yeah, and that's the thing is like I think I'm trying to get better at having opinions that making mistakes basically. And maybe I think the internet can be really scary, especially as someone who is also assigning my face to my takes. I think it can be scary because you don't want that to define who you are. But I hope that when I do choose to engage in topics that are sensitive, that do make people emotional, like regardless of one's involvement on it, that people hopefully will see that I'm trying to engage in good faith. And so I try to be careful about sharing my opinion, but also being open to learning and changing my mind, I think is what I'm trying to say. But thank you. Yeah, coming from the right place. I try to. Thank you, Tastic. Yes, like and subscribe. They're free. Thank you. That's a way to help out the channel. Thanks, guys. You guys are way better at plugging my channel than I am. Historical documents hidden behind the bricks. Oh, you should have told me sooner. I could have knocked them down earlier. She said, "Yeah, do I look like a sir?" I knew it. I knew that's what she would have done. I am not trans. The thing is, when a lot of people come in with their first message to be like, are you a dude? Are you trans? Like, I know that they're doing that as a way to try and offend me. Why would I be offended? Have you seen trans women? They're beautiful. They're like, there's... No, I would not. I'm not offended. But that's because I don't have insecurity tied into my gender. I've spent many years on this planet, and I have a lot of issues that come with my gender. For example, you know, how people see me on the internet and try to attack me because of that. But I am not insecure about it. And that in itself is a privilege. That's another thing that I had a friend tell me a long time ago. So I try to use the example of like, if you are misgendered or the pronouns are used incorrectly for you, how uncomfortable that would be. In another regard, if you feel so comfortable knowing what your pronouns are, that in itself is a privilege. Recognizing who you are and being confident and certain about that, that is something that a lot of people do not experience. And so therefore it should be easier for you to use your pronouns if you know what your pronouns are. If you think that you are a man and you know that it is ridiculous to use anything other than he, him, that in itself is is really great. That shows that you know who you are. And there is a small percentage of the world who does not have that feeling. They don't have that confidence. And that is why I am pro allowing exploration, both in gender orientation and sexual orientation. And there not being so much of a societal pressure of choosing a label and sticking to it forever, basically. I think that we should allow people to explore and then find what they like. And I say this in regards to hobbies as well. Like, you don't always know what you like in school, what subjects you'd be good at, what degree do you want to get. In all of these aspects, you don't always know what that is at a young age. And so being allowed, and so in schools, for example, I think it's really excellent when there are schools that offer a whole bunch of different subjects, because then you can try a lot of different subjects. Maybe you hate maths, but you really liked biology and sports, and then now you go and become a physiotherapist or something. I think that the exposure and the lack of judgment can go a long way to helping us feel more comfortable and less reactionary, so that people can just live in their preferred identity. But again, that is an idealistic world that I want to see, and I then get reminded how nasty people are, and it kind of throws a lot of that out of the window. 3 genders and 5 declensions. I don't know what the word declension is. Sorry, see, mama? I only saw that one now. The irony is that in Spanish, the term for non-binary is either masculine or feminine. Oh no, that must be really tough for the Spanish speakers then. When I meet people speaking Spanish, oh yeah, that's the mucho. Gendered languages are capable of finding non-binary terminology when necessary. Absolutely, I agree. This is an American tank. We speak American here. In Italian and Spanish, they are both male. Ah, el gato. Cute. Sorry, guys. When I do this, it's basically just scrolling through and seeing what I can do. I guess you could say evolution. They're probably more accurate to say more words are added, and that's that. Oh, true, for language. Nothing within the structure changed. Nothing about the communication changed. I'm not so certain about that, but that would be a lack of knowledge on my end, Elast. Because if you look at even how people spoke 150 years ago, I do think that we can see a bit of a difference in our language. If you want to use America as an example, American English versus British English, you can see changes in the spelling of the words. I think that in terms of maybe our sentence structures, like if you go back and read a book from 150 years ago, you do have to change your thinking, or like when you're reading it, it is not as simple to read as someone who is writing today. So I think there is some differentiation. I don't disagree wholeheartedly, but I think there's just nuance in it. Why did horses stop drawing on carriages? Is that why they have hooves now? Yeah, they no longer need to draw it. Doublespeak, was it? Someone actually did try to invent a universal language. Ah, okay. I feel like we'll have to save that for a topical Tuesday or something. In my language, table is male, ball is female, sun is neutral. For English speaker, that is mind blown, I know, right? And this goes to show as well, right, that a lot of the people who are having these arguments, and this is now my hot take, let's say, a lot of people that I see having a lot of arguments, let's say, around gender, seem to be from countries that only speak English. And maybe that's because the countries that don't speak English, I'm not paying attention to them. Of course I'm paying attention to English. But it is something that I'm not going to make an assumption on where the conversations aren't happening elsewhere. But it is a curiosity and a wonder if the same conversations are happening elsewhere, I guess. And so that's all. That's all. I guess the hot take part of it is when people are looking at it through this lens of only English, I don't know. I'll have to think more about this. But my point is that I understand in other languages, it's a different conversation because of gendered language. And then again, with other cultures, it's a different conversation because they don't care so much about transitioning, and they don't even have the term transitioning because it's just the person is the person. And I guess their biology is their biology, whatever they look like. I don't know. Anyway, I will think about it more. I feel like I need to ruminate on that. But yes, I did learn some German on Iraq because my dad's German. My dad spoke a little bit of German to me growing up, but admittedly, even nowadays, he just speaks English to me, and I have to really encourage him to speak German so I can practice. But I only really started learning German properly in my 20s, just on Duolingo, even though Dua Lipa is superior. And that gave me a little bit of a boost, but I don't do it anymore because I kind of hit a ceiling on Duolingo. I got a lot better at grammar, but basically to become fluent in German, for me personally, I need to speak it. It is, I've hit my ceiling, and so I would love to spend an extended period of time in Germany or Austria. I have family in Germany, so I have considered spending some time with them and maybe practicing the language. I feel quite comfortable speaking with people in German. There are a lot of words that I am unfamiliar with, but that is because I haven't had a chance to practice them. And so when in that environment, if I'm much better at understanding than speaking. So if I'm listening to a conversation, so for example, I remember a few years ago, my dad and his friend were talking, and I was listening. I wasn't really chiming in because the same way that even if they were speaking English, I wouldn't chime in. I was kind of just letting them catch up. But they kept saying this one word over and over again, and usually in context, I can pick up on it. But in this context, I had to chime in, and in German, I said, sorry, what's the translation of this word? And I think it was just rent, as in, I had never heard the word for rent or renting or a rental property before. And so I could tell, I was like, I think that they might be talking about this, but maybe it's mortgage. I don't know. And so when communicating in person, I am able to now just say, oh, sorry, can you just fill in that gap for me? And then they can continue on. So it's pretty okay, but it's not great. But I definitely need to go out of my way to learn more. Okay. Esperanto is the world's most widely spoken constructed international auxiliary language, created in 1887 by L.L. Zamenhof to foster neutral, easy-to-learn communication across language barriers. It features 100% regular grammar, no irregular verbs, and a vocabulary derived from Romance, Germanic, and Slavic languages. Cool. You're a good girl. Thank you, Terry. I'm trying. My language. Oh yeah, this is the genders for professions, and so that's the thing. English has genders for professions as well. But I feel like we are moving away from that. So we don't have a doctress, although it does sound kind of sexy. I just went to see my doctress yesterday. Why am I getting flushed over this? Go plug yourself. You go plug yourself, Season Lounge. Sea-Speak is the official standardized and universal language used by sailors globally, regardless of whether it's their native language. Oh my gosh. It is a simplified, structured form of English designed to ensure safe and clear communication. Hi, Lady Rose. I don't know if you're struggling with your identity. Don't tell at me for being normal. Don't tell at me. Don't at me. Maybe is that the one that you're trying to say? Evolution is the presence or absence of genetic mutation, leading to survival or extinction. Literally, binary code, not the best example. I feel like this is outside of the realm of things that I know very much about, but I will take your word for it. It sounds good. The presence or absence of genetic mutation, and then that's what makes it change and branch off, and then that would lead to the survival or extinction. Yes, yep, okay. And so you're saying that would be where the code comes. That's where I think that's where I would struggle, is because the first part of your paragraph, yes, I understand that, but I'm guessing that you yourself said not the best example, but yeah, I guess that like either it's present or it's not, can be a bit binary, but not sure if it's something that we'll need to argue today. There are people who are cis or cheese, as I have been corrected, and regularly misgendered because they don't fit the social expectations. Exactly. And so I think for me, again, coming back to gender, the reason that I am so comfortable in my gender is because there was a time where I wasn't. I am very clearly feminine presenting. I have had a lot of struggles being a woman because I'm a woman, and a lot of not misgendering, but rather discrimination or I don't want to say disadvantages, because I feel like I've had enough of a privilege where I've not fallen into that category. But there have been experiences that I have had that other people who are men will not experience. And it can be really tough. It can be really... I don't necessarily need to repeat all of these things. But my point is that I didn't feel like I fit the social and societal expectation of what a woman was. I don't like wearing makeup, for example. And makeup is or at least at the moment, a very feminine thing to be engaging in. How women typically dress. I do not like wearing skirts, for example. And so growing up, I found I really struggled with my identity as a woman because of how people see woman. There is no one who looks at me and doesn't think I'm a woman. I know that. But that wasn't always the case, because it's less so about how people see me and how I feel like I should have been seen if I am feminine. And a great example of that is when I was in my late teens and early 20s, I tried to go into the modeling industry. Just very amateur modeling. And I can look at some of those photos and I know you guys will say, wow, you look so beautiful. This is incredible, blah, 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 blah. I look at those photos and I do not recognize who that person is whatsoever. It is so far away from how I see myself and how I identify. And it is because I do not identify with this hyper-femininity and what is considered to look feminine. So like I said, dresses, makeup are very easy examples of that. I think that long hair is another example of that too. And so I felt like I was not doing enough to be a woman. I felt like I needed to wear makeup. I felt like I needed to wear high heels instead of sneakers. And these are all... No one told me this. No one said I was dressing incorrectly. But it is that societal, just unspoken telling, and sometimes blatantly said, I will say, telling of how one should look. And so nowadays, I have realized that I don't need to wear a dress to look like a girl, basically. And so I've gone through that. And I've come on the other end, and I'm very comfortable in my skin now. And also as someone who is, I guess, not very curvy, that's another thing that played on my mind, where I'm like, well, I don't really have the assets to look like a girl as well. And so a lot of these things were, again, not explicitly said to me, where it's like, actually, that's a lie. I did have someone when I was 16, I dressed up as Harley Quinn at a convention, and someone said my boobs weren't big enough. What? And so as a 16-year-old, especially, like, that is so... I felt... It was so creepy. It was so gross. Whereas as a 30-year-old, if I dressed up as Harley Quinn and someone said that my boobs aren't big enough, I'm gonna be like, okay, well, you know, your empathy is not big enough. It was so ridiculous. And these instances are not exclusive to me. A lot of girls, and this is the big thing, girls, not women, girls experience these things from a very young age. So of course that's going to make them feel insecure about their bodies. That insecurity can now lead to larger issues. For me, it was the insecurity of how to look like a girl, basically, because clearly I didn't have a big enough tits, whereas now it's literally, well, not the butt of the joke, but the boob of the joke, you know. We make constant references about how there's nothing going on there, and I can laugh about it, but that's because I am able to feel, but that's because I don't have an insecurity about it now. However, that insecurity, like that comment as a 16-year-old, that could have gone down a very different path. Maybe I would have gone and got a boob job to compensate for that. And I'm not saying everyone who gets a boob job is from insecurity, but don't get me wrong. But my point is that these kinds of things can really impact how you view yourself. And I feel... Were they farming someone with low self-esteem? I don't think so, because the thing is, they didn't... I will say, they didn't know how old I was. But the fact that they didn't know my age should be irrelevant, because they shouldn't be commenting on well, in this case, girls, but they shouldn't be commenting on someone's body in that regard anyway. You know? So... this is an example of the societal social expectations where it's not always as explicit as this person who told me I didn't have big enough boobs as a 16-year-old. And I was like, you know, but one day they'll grow and then I'll prove them wrong. One day, right? It's been 14 years, but like it's they're coming, right? they're on their way. Do you know what the biggest joke would be? This is too much information, but intrusive thought that now I have to let out. The biggest joke would be that if I do decide to have children, right? And I decide to have the pregnancy myself, and I am supposed to go through all of the physical changes that come with pregnancy, I can imagine that out there it will make me believe in a higher deity, because I just feel like there's going to be some sort of cosmic joke that would not give me big ass titties. So now, for science, I must have children to see if there is a god or not. Because if I don't get big ass titties, then we know someone out there is playing a joke. That is my take on these things. Anyway, enough of that. Oh, goodness gracious. There are a few versions of Harley Quinn that are not top heavy. So the difference with Margot Robbie is that it was more about the butt rather than the boobs. But my one was the Arkham City cosplay. That's the one that I was doing. Okay. Good day. Hello. I did investigate how much Dutch did they them. Given I have a they them, I might be referring to in Dutch. Yes, exactly. So I think it makes sense for you to look into these things. The USA are simplified English, both in spelling and the context. For example, the sentence, he reacted really quickly to the alarm bell. He reacted really... Well, the thing is, he reacted really quickly is already in itself bad grammar, because you are using really and quickly. Like, how I would edit that is he reacted quickly to the alarm bell. There really is already... Sorry, now I'm getting into the nuance of that sentence. But the really is already surplus to requirement. So I would just get rid of really altogether. And this shows how bad our English is, because a lot of people wouldn't even pick up on that. Whereas he reacted really fast, I actually do think makes sense. Really quickly is in my opinion not very good grammar. Idioms. Ooh. Like there's an idiom that I came across. Oh yeah, okay, I'll think about this. of like if you put makeup on a pig, it's still a pig. Have you tried only ever responding to him in German? Yes, he still speaks English. He gets there eventually, but it's anyway, I'm getting there. I'm a New Zealander, Carlos. If someone didn't answer that to you. My father is a secret agent. It's true. I shouldn't have told you that. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not yet in Germany. A good way to get the language more naturally into your head is by watching local soap. Oh, yes, soap operas. I also want to read books, actually. So I've been thinking about going to get some like children's books, so that I can learn German that way as well. But soap operas are good. Their language is casual, speak clearly, and you get interested in the stories. This was years ago, so see Mama, I absolutely agree. Years ago, I started watching some shows on Netflix and whatnot, and there were some good ones, but that was before I was as confident with my German as I am now. So now I just have to go and go back and do this. Okay, just scrolling through. Have a blessed weekend, Eddie. Thank you. You would look so good with a nose ring, you reckon? I feel like I would suit a alternative look. I think that I would suit a bunch of tattoos, like even tattoos that come up on my neck. I really do think I would suit it. I'm not going to get it, but I do think I would suit that style. But I just don't like things on my end. Oh yes, it's gaming time. Maybe we'll swap over to gaming. Is there anything else we want to cover before I go to the gaming? I think that we've been live for 3 hours. We're about to hit an ad break on Twitch if we haven't already. Yeah, starts in 1 minute is the ad break. So we're going to wrap up the conversation today. If you guys are in the YouTubes and you want to come join over some gaming, you can either come to the Twitch channel, same handle, xClementine, or you can go to xClemPlays. But you're right, I have set this as a hard cutoff so that we stop yapping away. A good example of why we shouldn't rush into transitioning young people from my experience. From the experience I have had, I completely agree with you. I think that I can understand where you're coming from. However, I do think that you cannot apply my situation to every other child. But that is why it is super important to have conversations about gender identity so that we can try and find a healthy medium for everyone. Because there are great examples of puberty blocking and kids who have benefited from that. Others were not so much. And so don't use my example as now a way to don't as someone who's not a trans, you can't use my example, but I understand where you're coming from with that comment, and I also understand the concerns people have with early intervention with puberty blockers. Kids they should be allowed the exploration. I think that some people are super confident on who they are at a young age, and that can be really tough to go, well, can we now use puberty blockers now, or should that just be a no-go until one's 18? Like that, I do recognize it's a complex conversation. And it's one I actually don't have a lot of opinions on because I haven't had enough conversations with the people who have transitioned or haven't or any of these things and had puberty blockers. I don't have much more to add. Sorry. Okay, thankfully there's amazing people who make people feel better about themselves as well. Exactly. Where else? Okay, I'm catching up. I'm well. Thank you for asking, Jeremy. I hope you're well. We're so close. Don't you ever tell me 14 years ago we were 16. I know, right, Q-Man? I know. I'm glad that I have someone else my age. Oh my God. By the way, for those who heard me talk about the pretty lady from yesterday, it doesn't matter. I don't know why I brought it up. Nothing. I just wanted an excuse to bring her up. Moving on. At the complete opposite, I once wore a no-sleeve shirt that was a little tight to a band practice. They call it my boob tube. I didn't start wearing singlets till a few years ago. Looking at it now, I've just had big pec muscles and yeah. But that's the thing is everyone's body is different. Exactly. Your teeth are perfect. Well, I would hope so. My parents paid a lot of money to get my my teeth like this, so don't think that can happen easily. It's pretty the orthodontics I got was absolutely cosmetic. They're not fake teeth, they're just moved. But you can tell that my second incisor incisor, I hardly know. That one is a bit of a funny shape if you zoom in really close. But I am a little self-conscious of my teeth. They're not as white as I usually like them. Yeah, not so secret agent anymore. No, we haven't even talked about practical magic at all. Isn't that ridiculous? I can understand 3 languages. My third one is not very good. So English, obviously, I can speak and would therefore understand as well. German, I can understand very well, and I'm more confident with speaking it these days. But I am definitely not fluent yet. But I don't think it would take me long to be fluent, or at least I hope it wouldn't. And then Maori is my third language, and that one I don't speak very well at all. I don't really know how to string a sentence together, but I know a lot of vocab when I'm listening to other people speak, I guess. You like to eat cake, and how will your parents react? They will kick you out. I hope your parents aren't kicking you out just for liking cake. No tattoos or piercing, Broski. You made it this far. Don't ruin a good thing. I actually do have one tattoo, and I do have my ears pierced. But my tattoo, actually, I can show you. It's just that one there. That's the only tattoo I have, and this was a community tattoo that we got together for folding 1,000 origami cranes. So that was 2024 Cranesmiths celebration. We did that as a communal thing. No, it was so scary to get. I have no interest. Honestly, if this is my only tattoo, I'm okay with that. But it is very special for me. I don't believe that people need to get tattoos to have a meaning, but for me, I would get them with a meaning. And yeah, 1,000 cranes in a month we folded, all live on stream, and I'm really glad that I have basically a memory of that. Like even now, it's making me smile and a little bit tear up because it was just such a wonderful time. So I'm really, really glad I have that memory. And if it is, like I said, my only tattoo that I ever have, then I'm okay with that. I don't know if I get another one, but the one I do have, I really love. Puberty blockers are still being used on children regularly, just not trans kids. Oh, this is also such a good play. Okay, I am gonna shelve the conversation. I am gonna shelve the conversation because I do want to play some games. I'm trying to get better at having hard cutoffs. Especially since we have a whole month of streaming. So, little segue. I will be streaming every single day of May. If you guys are new, consider liking and subscribing. Turn the bell notification on. If you're over on Twitch, consider following. Did I do it? Did I do the plug? Anyway, if you guys have been enjoying the content, please consider following the channel in whatever way is applicable for you. I also have other socials if you want to watch some of the short form content and the clips that I have been editing from the live streams. Every single thing I have edited going forward has been from the live stream, so you can see some of the shenanigans that we get up to. Now, on that, the MAYrathon. And what is the MAYrathon? Basically, I am streaming every single day of May as a bit of a personal challenge. It's not for any fundraising or goals or a subathon or anything like this. It's not to make money. You know, it would be cool if we get some extra money from ads, I guess, with the extra streaming. But it's more just to find what I like doing and how things work and setting boundaries and limits and all this kind of stuff. So we are going to shelve the conversation about puberty blockers. I think we've covered enough about trans people today. But what I do want to say for you guys to ruminate on is that hormone therapies have existed for a long time. I can tell you, even from my personal experience, that I had a lot of issues. This might make some people squeamish. It shouldn't make people squeamish. But I had a lot of pain and nausea with my cycle, basically, and it was really bad. And I don't have endometriosis. We don't think, but it was really, really bad. And how old was I? As a 15-year-old, my doctor prescribed me the contraception pill. And this was even, oh, do I want to share that? This, I feel like I've already started it. This was not for countering pregnancy, because you kind of have to be, having sex to counter pregnancy. But this was prescribed to me regardless of having sex, and the pill is affecting one's hormones. That's how it helps against pregnancy, because it is a form of hormonal treatment. And you can see people who are getting extra testosterone as well these days, and all of these things are hormonal treatments, is the better word I was looking for. Hormonal treatments. These things have been around for many, 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 many decades, and a lot of the rulings that could happen that are supposed to be countering trans treatments will also counter these hormonal treatments that have nothing to do with transitioning. And so it is interesting when people talk about like getting testosterone injections and they're not trans. It's like, well, how are you against other people getting testosterone injections? And anyway, so that's all I wanted to say. Things to ruminate on and consider, or maybe even research yourself in the meantime. But yeah, that's all. 6K HD. I'm glad you like the Bulbasaur. No, this one it's just 1080. I do have a very good camera, don't get me wrong, but we're just in 1080. Okay. Did you run into the pretty lady today? No, but I haven't gone for a run. I just woke up and I came here. Greetings all. Hi, Radam Goon. I read a paper somewhere it's not uncommon for teenage boys to grow breasts, and I believe the removal of these breasts is the only gender corrective surgery that is present in minors. Damn, okay. Great brickwork. Well, you're the first person to say it's good. A lot of people say it's shoddy, and I think both things are accurate. Do you like gay things? Sure. I just schooled myself and also got schooled by Kermit on gynecomastia for cis boys. Is that the breasts, is it? See mama. Hi Nova Chunk. We all got the same tattoo exactly, but yours is a tramp stamp. Oh, Vertical couldn't see the tat. There we go. I'll have to show off my things closer to my microphone. Cool. Arlo, Arlo, this is my souvenir, I guess, my little memento from my previous housemate. So out of all the cranes that we folded and burnt, I did keep my housemate's one, because every time I see it, it makes me smile. I'm like, oh, you're such a lovable goof. Yeah, so saggy still exists, and as you can tell, I get to glance over at them very easily. A lot of people won't know the story behind that origami crane. I did not fold that one. My craftsmanship over origami cranes is much better. But that my housemate folded, so it's my little memory of my housemate, and it's beautiful. Go! It's a pleasure, Ness. Thank you so much. Besides masonry appreciation, what do? We are about to game. But admittedly, Random Goon, the bulk of my content is literally just reading messages and chatting, and that will tangent and turn into who knows what. We ended up talking about not my title today. And that is the greatest example of showing what I can do or what I do. Okay. The Celtics lost to the Sixers. Bad luck. Bad luck. I've no idea. First time here. I hope she does a section on masonry appreciation. Maybe we can save that for next stream. But we are going to play some games. So I think what I'll do is I'll do a little break. I'll go get a snack. I'll put some words on stream on the Twitch. and then I'll move over to the gaming soon, because I do want to test my gaming, because we haven't had a chance to do that. You only live once. Talk to the pretty lady. I know. Hey, Northampton. Jason, does that mean I'm brand new to UK? I've only been here not even 2 months. But you have to teach me. Are we rivals? Because I live in Southampton. And so many people are like, if you live in Southampton, is there a Northampton? Yes, there is a Northampton. But I don't know if we are rivals. So teach me if I should hate you. Show us your bricks. That's cute. I like that. Fun brick fact, Cream City brick is a cream or light yellow colored brick made from a clay constructed around Milwaukee. There we go. Your Wisconsin knowledge is astounding. You're saying I'm trans because I once used steroid cream for some eczema? Yes. You are. It's so color-coded, that little thing, isn't it? Lads in the German military used to have an issue where they grew a single boob because they engaged in ceremonial buffeting of their rifles. Oh my god! And so that, like, built up. That's incredible. I didn't know that. Ogami is cool, but ain't no retaining wall. Yeah, I don't know the law behind this. Maybe we should figure that out. Because, okay, I did have a peek through. We will talk about the bricks before we move to gaming. We will talk about bricks. You have, and so, Goon, this is a perfect example of what I do on my live stream. The stream in conversation is dictated by the chatters. And now we're gonna talk about bricks. So, here we are. Hi, Hogan. We're gonna talk about bricks. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I try. So, I had a little peek in this hole, and I'm gonna do it again, because I haven't had a look one. Oh, I don't know that movie. But what I can see... Oh, do we have a torch? What I can see is that this wall is 2 bricks deep. So basically, if you imagine a brick in the wall and then a brick beside it, but backwards, that's how deep this wall is. So 2 courses, is that what they call it? What I have not done, vertical, you might not be able to see the hole. It's just here. So I might disappear off camera, but hopefully you can see the hole better. What I have not done is shine a torch in there and see if we can see anything else. An ancient curse, too late! I see that I need a better torch. There is a lot of empty space in there. There's a lot of empty space. It looks like just the rafters of a roof. But I don't think that makes sense if I look at it from the outside. I definitely need a better torch. But essentially, if you imagine a roof, and then you imagine like the rafters and the like beams that hold up the roof, that's what I can see. Yeah, I think it's more likely the asbestos as well. So I don't know. Hi, how you going, Jazz? I don't know why this exists. My point is, I don't know why this exists, because I feel like there's a lot of unused space. I don't know if maybe there's no flooring. I know that under there is basically just a long hallway. It feels like if we pulled this down, that we'd have a lot bigger space. Insulation, maybe? Maybe MS Paint? Stick the live cam in there? I feel like we should, hey. Maybe you guys could see more. I definitely need a better torch. I can see wiring. there's a lot of wiring. Oh God, please don't tell me that there'll be skeleton fingers in there. I can see a lot of wiring. So maybe it is used just to store all of the utility stuff as well. You think it's structural? No, not the spider. Cut the blue one. I can only see white. I can only see white. It is a load-bearing wall, so that's what your assumption is it? Yeah, I don't know enough about construction. Something hidden back there. What I'll do is I can stick the live camera in there, but it will take me some time because I can stick the live camera in there. But one, usually that's my phone. I am not risking dropping my phone behind there. That is no, thank you. No, thank you. And I also need a second light source, but we do have a torch around, like a small torch, so that would be a thing. You look like Elmo. Hold on.
Elmo. How does Elmo is a little Elmo?
I'd have to listen to Elmo. I feel like there's a baseline that I'm getting, but I'm not confident enough to try and do an impersonation. There's like I found the pitch at one point, and then I don't think I can sustain it. All I know is load-bearing wall was my nickname on the rugby team. Don't ask why. Potentially a fire break, so if one section catches fire, it's less likely to transfer to the neighbors or other rooms. Okay, cool. I feel like that could be accurate. So basically, this is not doxing, because this is just how a lot of English houses work. Is that the flat that I'm currently living in, it shares like a wall with the neighbors. And so we basically live in this section, and then the neighbors live here. And every now and again, I can hear the voices reverberating through into this side. Semi-detached. No, it's like just straight. It's just straight attached. Yeah, the cadence. That's the one. Oh, thank you, Yodo. So I am hearing the voices. I'm assuming that a lot of what is behind this brick is probably, like I said, all of the cables, but the cables that also connect to the neighbors. I don't think everything in there is the electricity to this house. But nonetheless, there's solid. Most brickwork on the outside bearing walls in the new builds are hollow to allow a rebar through them. These are just words to me. Just light some matches and throw them back there. It'll get light enough. Hilarious. You're hilarious, Hogan. Yes, red hair. You're a girl. You're a girl. You're a girl. Yes, it is natural. You got it. We like to attach our houses so they don't get lonely. Aww. And then we share in the misery. We don't want to go down without someone else going down with us. Are you ready? No. I shaved my special place today. Good for you. Grooming is great. Definitely Narnia and gold and jewels. Where's my sledgehammer? Anyway, so there are a few other gaps, but that is a little FYI on behind the wall. You're a girl. You're a girl. Okay, well, okay, that is semi-detached. Gotcha. So, I will put this back here. Now, before I wrap up the just chatting, I am going to, I think, make another cup of tea. So I'll have a little break, but we have a couple things that I want to watch before we fully wrap up. So we've got this one here. I'm just going to stay on the ground for now. Thank you, Shinebox. I really appreciate that. It's been lovely having you here as well. So here we have this. How to tell if someone is real or AI. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate that. That's really lovely. How to tell if someone is real or AI?
Who is real and who is AI? First question, contestant 1, what is the capital of Minnesota? St. Paul. Contestant 2, hold on, I'm thinking! Who is real and who is AI? First question, contestant 1, what is the capital of Minnesota? St. Paul. Contestant 2, hold on, I'm thinking!
What is
Who is
going
real
on?
and who is AI? First question, contestant
Wait.
1, what is the capital of Minnesota?
Wait, is that it?
Contestant-
I thought that it was. I didn't know it was looping. I feel like such an idiot. I didn't know it was looping. I got loop baited. I thought that it was. I thought that the gag was gonna come from the looping, and then there would be a switcheroo. If you don't get it, don't worry. We all know jokes are funnier when explained. So now that I realize the gag doesn't come from the loop, I can explain it. Yes, I should have just continued going until, and then I'm like, no, it changes at some point. For those who didn't get it, basically, when you prompt AI with a question, it just has this like little it's thinking, it's generating, it's getting the data, it's searching, and so the gargling of the water was basically the AI thinking about the question rather than just kind of being like St. Paul. However, that's not the guess that I would have made for the state capital, so I would have just been wrong, basically. The smile vanished the rustiness of my soul. Whose smile? Whose? It uses heaps. Oh, yes, see, Mama, I didn't even pick up on that. It's gurgly, guggly. Okay, well, color me wrong. Yes, I was completely off base in that regard. It can have multiple meanings. It can have multiple meanings and interpretations. But yes, because it uses a lot of water and resources. Okay, never mind. Never mind. The gargling water dude was the AI, supposedly. But that's the thing, if you couldn't tell, then that also shows that they're getting good. The game's behind the wall, exactly right. So even if it's a duplex, two houses sharing a common roofline, the adjoining walls have to have a gap between them for similar reasons. Put a doorway in, we demand it. I already have my secret Narnia closet over here. Honestly, I haven't spoken much about it, but or maybe I have spoken about it. Doesn't matter. It would be a really good podcast room in there. I know exactly how I would make it look as well. And my friend who has interior decoration as a hobby, I told her my idea and she was like, that would look excellent. But then I have to podcast. I just want a podcast room without podcasting. Okay. The joke is that the AI answers right away with the correct information and humans crack under pressure. No, what? No, stop. That's not the joke. Well, in that case, we have no idea who's the AI. We all have different interpretations. I hate this video. It's making me mad. And see, this now throws back to our emotional conversation from earlier. I recognize I'm triggered. Where's the trigger coming from? Confusion. Perhaps irritation. Do I just not like being wrong? Are my insecurities based in the fact that I don't like to be seen as wrong? Is my self-worth tied up in me trying to come across as smart? Is that who I am? Well, if I get rid of that, then I will never be insecure. And now I'm happy. You guys got it, right? Okie dokie. That short would could be better if the human kept changing his answer and the AI drank a huge glass of water, then cut back to answering an extremely verbose answer. I'm not AI, I'm only on paper. I don't get it. Roll perception or insight on or investigation, whatever you want to roll to try and make it better. All right, guys. Hard cutoff has happened. If you guys have enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing. I am going to go have a mini break. I'm going to leave the Twitch stream on. I'm sorry we didn't talk about practical magic today. I'm not really that sorry. I just didn't have a title, so I put that as the title in case we were lost for things to talk about. We clearly were not lost for things to talk about today. So yeah, go follow some socials if you want to see funny moments from the live stream. I've been editing clips so that we can have a little giggle over the ridiculousness that happens over on this channel. And I'm gonna go get a snack. And then we're gonna play some games. So if you wanna watch the games, then either thank you, Nine Fox. Either join the Twitch channel or you can head over to Exclam Plays on YouTube. Quick rating out of 10. Definitely 10. Always 10. I'm right here, exactly. It was a practically magic stream, exactly. Anyway, thanks very much, guys. If you're on YouTube, I'm gonna end the YouTube live now. So thanks. Consider, like I said, there's VODs and stuff to watch. I don't know. You just have a good weekend, okay? Have a good weekend, and I'll either see you on Twitch or I'll see you on the Exclam Plays channel if you want to watch some gaming. We're gonna play some Oblivion, and tomorrow we're gonna play a different game, but I haven't spoiled what we're gonna play yet, so it'll be a surprise for everyone. Okay, bye YouTube. See you later. See ya. Bye.